There are so many reasons not to skip breakfast. So many savory, mouth-watering, tasty, delicious beyond all belief reasons. Actually, that last one was pretty convincing. Stop by for a McDonald's breakfast. Mix and match a sausage biscuit, sausage McMuffin, sausage burrito, or hash browns, any two for just $2. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with combo meal.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Very, 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 Mickey, Pishy, Pishy!
You are listening to the Voices of Wrestling podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
X out, go listen to some boring podcast where they're afraid of their own shadow. Okay? Don't listen to Joe Lanza, because Joe Lanza's not changing.
And Rich Craich.
Give me a name. Who delivers this guy in a big spot?
Joe, don't yell at me.
In the big spot, who delivers better than this guy?
Stop yelling at me. I agree.
And we are live here on the Voices of Wrestling Flagship Podcast. I'm Rich Craich, alongside, as always, the King of Banter, Mr. Joe Lanza. Joe, what's happening?
You know, I am the King of Banter. You can go with one of the other nicknames anytime you
I
like.
like that. Well, that's the one I like the most.
It's the only one you remember.
It's the only one I remember. Yeah, the other ones are, I don't remember the exact cadence of them or the exact terminology, and many of them are lewd, and I'm not a lewd man, Joe. I'm Mr. Tug the Collar, Rich Craich. I don't want to, the Kenta Kobashi of sex just seems weird, so to start out the show, at least. To say about another man. Most of them are lewd, aren't they?
I don't think any
As
of them.
heard on BBC Radio is not lewd, that's true.
Yeah, which ones are lewd? Okay, you can
It
argue.
might just be the Kenta Kobashi. It's like, go over them all again. I will write them down right now. I'm not actually going to do that, but go ahead.
You can argue Kenta Kobashi of sex is lewd, but I don't think the most compelling voice in wrestling media is lewd, or a reasoned and well-explained man, as I was on the Thursday TV reviews today, $5 tier, with the definitive best take on the Hangman Page situation, which you and I will talk about on this show as well. That is just tremendous audio, though. Everybody should subscribe and listen to that, because
how do I do so? I do that at patreon.com/voices of wrestling. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay,
that's
good.
exactly where you do it. Leader of the hardcore wrestling intelligentsia. Nothing lewd about that. Internationally acclaimed broadcast journalist, as heard on BBC Radio. All true.
I still don't understand how that happened, but that's all right. Yeah, the best part is, I don't know if somebody was playing this up or it was actually legit, but when we were doing our 10th anniversary thing a couple weeks ago, a few people in the mentions were like, "Oh yeah, I heard about you guys. I was listening to BBC Radio," and I'm like, "Are you just like puffing up Joe's ego, or did you really hear Joe on BBC Radio?" And that's how you found out about this show.
No, of course. That was a tremendous appearance.
How did that happen? I don't even remember.
Because listen,
so
when
Hulk Hogan said the N-word, and then
when you listen, when you need the best wrestling journalist in the world to break down a story, the BBC knows who to call, and they called me.
Yeah, TMZ Man didn't get the call. Joe Lanza got the call.
Dave Meltzer, none of these jabrones. They called Joe Lanza.
But how did they get your number? Like, how did that's
put me over after the appearance and everything. They were just, flabbergasted at how great I was. Asked me to come back. They couldn't meet my rate, and that was that.
And then that's the last appearance you've done on the BBC Radio, yeah.
Well, listen, I don't work for free. So, they want me. They know where to find me. That BBC, whatever it was called, that morning show they had me on there. Yeah, these are not lewd nicknames.
No, I guess the only one of them is lewd. So
tremendous nicknames. They're clean. They're family friendly.
You had a new one recently, but I don't think you ever repeated it, and then I don't remember what it was now. So
a good family man.
No. It newer than that.
That's the furthest thing from lewd.
No, absolutely the opposite. No, there was another one. I just forget what it was. That's fine.
You can mix them in. You can mix them in. I would appreciate it.
I'll take it under advisement. I'm probably not going to, but I'll.
I mean, King of Banter is a classic, but
I think it does the best. I think King of Banter describes you the best. That's why I choose to do that. You might think Kenta Kobashi of sex describes you the best. I can't attest to that. So
I could bring in a witness. I mean,
it's okay.
TLB's home. She'll put me over.
I'd rather.
No, you don't want to hear about that?
No, because then there was a few episodes ago, or maybe it was last episode. She came in, I forget what she was, some dress, and you were distracted the whole show. You were awful the rest of the show, and then you just usually there's like a post-show like banter session where you're like, all right, yeah, that you're like, all right, I gotta go by, and then you just left. I was like, okay. No. All right, like she came in, and then for the next 2 hours and 45 minutes, I could just tell that you were just a little distracted. It's okay, and I get it. It's fine, but
it's a good dress. It showed off the curves. You familiar with the curves, Rich?
I am familiar with the curves.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, very flattering.
Sure.
Very flattering dress. So.
I almost didn't do a show this week, if we're going to be honest. This Field of Dreams thing had me a little excited, even though now it's kind of like it's just a baseball game.
Yeah.
At this point, but if this wasn't a busy week, I was going to float the idea of maybe. But then a bunch of people got cut from NXT, and everyone's freaking out about Hangman, and there's enough. And there's a huge wrestling weekend that we didn't even really know there was a huge wrestling weekend in terms of a bunch of different shows that I didn't even know were going on this weekend, but are actually happening. So we couldn't skip this week. So it's all right.
Yeah. Well, you could see that Rich's work ethic is called into question here. As he was
very rarely do I actually want to skip shows these days.
He was going to blow it off. Well, when my show skip comes around every year, that first week of March Madness, all
exactly.
of a sudden,
right. I have not had a definite show skip in quite a while, and that's there was in the early days I'd be like NBA draft, NBA finals, we'll do it another day. But now that we're on a pretty schedule, a pretty regimented schedule here, I feel bad for just blowing a week off. But I did contemplate it for the Field of Dreams game. But now that I'm like a few minutes in it, it's like third inning or whatever, and it's just a baseball game now. So.
Right, you've seen the corn.
Yeah. Like multiple people have hit home runs into the corn now, including Aaron Judge, who just pimped one to right field. But
so now just having it on in the background.
Yeah, now it's fine. Like I'm just like, oh, you know what? That would have been stupid to skip the show for this because that was just a game. Yeah, it's just a game. Man.
You got a feel for it, and now you're like,
yeah. I'm glad it started because I originally thought it was going to start at 7, and I thought we'd be like head to head with it, and like, But no, it's been an hour in. I've seen all I need to see. So.
Well, I'm got very exciting news over here. I'm getting my TVs installed the beginning of next week. So
yeah. So have you talked about that on audio yet? Your TV setup?
I don't know.
I don't think you have. Go ahead if not. So this it's a pretty ambitious setup, and I appreciate it, and I enjoy it, and I support it fully. So.
Well, the world famous Den is getting an upgrade.
The one that gets stand and paste in? That one?
That's the Den. Mm-hmm. That's the one. Listen, I only have one Den, Rich. I'm not that much of a baller. Okay, I don't have.
You have multiple rooms that you don't go in though, so I thought maybe you had
not
multiple
anymore.
Dens, so.
I mean, they're all filled with children now. I had a lot of empty rooms. I had a lot of that's third hour talk. What I would do with some of those rooms, but no, the world famous Den's getting the upgrade. Yeah, I got I'm getting a 70-inch installed, and then 3 43 inches installed. So I'll have the full, like sports bar experience right there in the Den, and that'll work out perfect for March Madness because then I could have all 4 games on at the same time, which is the whole idea behind this thing. So Sunday NFL, March Madness, random Tuesday nights for baseball. Saturday afternoon college football. I don't even like college football, but there's no reason not to fire them up anyway, right? So
you get a score ticker too. You go full out.
4 games at once. It's going to be tremendous at all times in this house. So
how's the remote going to work? That's a little worrisome for me.
No, it'll be all worked out.
Okay, trying to change the channel on one and it flips the other one. Like I'd be a little worried about that.
No, it won't be. I got DirecTV coming down here Monday to set up the 4K receivers. So I need the 4K receivers in that room and then a 4K receiver downstairs.
Well, Patreon must be doing well then. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, listen,
God, those Thursday TV reviews. I'm gonna have to do a little audit here. You talking about me cooking the books? Hold on a minute. 4 4K receivers. I got DirecTV coming down. Yeah, when we're done with the show, Joe, can you forward me some documents if you get a chance? So
here's the thing, though.
I think I get access to those. I get those anyway. So
you have access to all those numbers.
Right.
Like this is not a conversation you want to have because I have access to none of the numbers on your side, but you have access to all.
That's true.
Of
Let's definitely change the subject immediately. So
yeah, but here's the thing, like. I don't spend any money otherwise. Like you're jaunting off to Iceland and going.
But I don't spend any money other than that. That's what I always try to tell you. See, you buy 4 TVs with 4 4K receivers. I don't do anything ever except for go to places. That's what I tell you.
Right. Well, see, my wife is always telling me, like, because I never spend a dime. Like, I never leave the house. I never spend any money. And, but once every 6 months, I'll be like, I really wish I had 4 TVs in the same room so I can watch all these games. And finally, she just pushed me to it. She's like, look, you never spend money. Just do it. Just you have the money. You never spend money. Just get the fucking TVs. So you can blame her for this. She pushed me to this. But, yeah.
Don't blame. I find it. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be tremendous. I can't just in time for the NFL. So it'll be perfect for that. And so I got the guy coming down. Of course, I got a guy doing everything. I'm not doing any of it. My brothers are killing me because they're telling me you can't mount the TVs yourself, and I'm like, no, of course not.
Well, this is one where you've already spent X amount to get all these TVs and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. You may as well have an expert come in and just make sure.
Absolutely.
Like whatever the remaining overhead is on it. You've already spent X amount. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point in not just having a guy that knows what he's doing, does it perfectly, mounts it perfectly, wires it up perfectly. Why not? Get the expert out there for sure.
For an extra, he's doing it for $500. 4 TVs. He's going to put the wires inside the fucking wall. You think I have any shot at accomplishing that task? I can't even hang
putting a hole in a wall seems like a tough task for you. So
yes, he's going to hide all the wires. He's TLB wants a fucking, she wants to get the whole sound system going with it. So for when she watches movies up there, so this guy's going to do all that shit for $500. It's like you're saying, you've already dumped thousands into it. What's the difference at this point? You might as well have someone come in here and do it right. So anyway, that jabroni will be down here. DirecTV will be here Monday. That guy will be here on what? So, so like early next week, I'll have the whole thing set up. I cannot wait.
Yeah, share some pictures. I'll be interested to see. I can imagine the wrestling setup will be incredible. You'll have 2 AW on one, Big Japan Strong tournament on the other.
Listen, you
could. I mean, on a good,
you throw the fire sticks on every one of them.
Yeah, right.
So they're only $30, so there's no reason not to. So you throw fire sticks on every one of them, and you could even get like a WrestleMania weekend. It'll be perfect.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everything going at once, and then of course, if I'm using it for WrestleMania weekend, I could find a way to make it all a tax write-off. Get into it. So there's that aspect too. It's don't think I haven't thought about that. As long as I do one NFL intelligentsia, this could all be maneuvered according to my accountant into certain categories. So we'll be doing that
for work. There's just so much to cover for work.
Absolutely. So, yeah. I have to watch it. Yeah, that's right. I have to watch all the, there's no doubt about it. But the remotes, getting back to this, I've got it figured out. The cabinet I'm getting to house all of the receivers and whatnot, they'll be behind doors. So, all right, if I need to change TV number 3, you just open up that door and change.
Okay.
And then the other receivers are blocked, you see. But I'm also going to talk to the DirecTV guy. I'm thinking maybe he can program each remote to only work on the receiver it's intended to work on. So, look, there's a lot to get into. The bottom line here is it's all going to be worked out.
You'll figure it out. Yeah,
I'll figure it out. It's going to be tremendous. Okay, the feet are going to be up. This is perfect for a man who doesn't leave the house. I mean, I've been dreaming about this my whole life.
You didn't leave the house already. Like, you're never leaving the house, ever.
No, and plus COVID's a perfect excuse. You don't know how many times I've said to TLB, no, we can't.
I'd love to do it, but,
COVID,
look around, motion to the outside. Look at,
your father's birthday? Oh, with this COVID?
The Delta. Now I got the Delta now? Yeah, I'm not going there.
Yeah, just Delta variant, I'm getting up there. I'm not a spring chicken. Nah, forget it. Plus she's got some like third cousin or something who's like a young guy. He's like 41 or something. And he's not like a fatso or anything. He's just like a normal 41-year-old guy, and he's like about to die. So, I mean, that too. Like, listen, it can happen to anyone. Now I'm like, listen, say, your third cousin fucking Arnold or whatever his name is.
You're like, something else.
You can see, as you can see, it can happen to anyone. I know I'm fit as an ox and strong as a bull, but you never know. You catch this thing and, let me tell you something. Ever since I went to the doctor and got that clean bill of health, I've been strutting around the house just
puffy chested.
Anytime, like she's like, "You sure you want to eat that?" I'm like, "Listen, I'm fit as an ox. The doctor said so." I pull up because all these doctors have the app now. You have the app on the phone.
Yeah.
I pull my phone right out. I'm like, "Look, you want to read these reports?" It says I have a very stout neck. Everything. I read it all.
Stout neck.
No, hold on. Let me read the exact thing.
Is
here.
that
something about my neck?
Okay.
Here's the.
This isn't a HIPAA violation because Joe is actually explaining it, so it's fine. So.
Yeah. So let's see.
He is disclosing his own medical information.
There's a kid screaming out there. What's going on? Let's see if I could find it. Now, this is going to be bad audio because I'm not going to find it fast enough. What they said about my neck. Let's see if I can pull that up. But yeah, I strut around this house with these doctor reports now with this tremendous, the blood pressure, everything's like perfect right where it should be. Don't think for 1 second I don't talk shit about that. Let's see if I get this neck comment here.
I'm just curious about why would that come up? Like,
it says, here we go. Well-developed, well-nourished white male in no apparent distress.
Do they know what you actually eat, though? You are not a well-nourished man.
It says, right. Listen, the doctors know. I'm reading it to you verbatim. Ready?
Okay, fine. Yeah.
General description. Well-developed, well-nourished white male in no apparent distress, non-toxic and pleasant.
Okay, they definitely don't know you at all.
Listen, this is
non-toxic and pleasant is not how I would describe Joe Lanza.
That's what the doctor. Listen. This man is a licensed physician, so I think I'm going to take his
board certified doctor.
Yeah, this should be one of my new nicknames: well-developed and well-nourished white male.
I might go with that one. That's actually not bad.
You know,
that might replace. What? So what was it? Well-developed, well-nourished white male.
Well-developed, well-nourished white male in no apparent distress, non-toxic and pleasant was my description
okay,
here.
All right, that's not bad.
By the doctor. Now, I'm going to skip all like the reason I was at the doctor. No reason for all that.
Yeah,
I'm not that open. Let's see if I could find that thing about the neck is just hilarious, and I've been strutting around talking for weeks.
Stout neck
because it's not stout, so I want to get it right because it was. It says, let's see. Oh, it might have been this. All right, hold on.
Tremendous audio, by the way.
With the neck. Here's the follow-up visit. Was the neck comment? I think. Of course, the app is working at a snail's pace here as I'm trying to pull this up. The bottom line here is I am just okay. Here we go. Let's see. No history of STDs. Amazing. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, is that on it? I mean, that can't be true either. But
that's true. I mean, I would get.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's good.
Checked frequently, for obvious reasons. Let's see.
Dude. You've never been more Mike Francesa than right now. As you scroll your phone.
4. My gastrointestinal is excellent.
Good.
Cardiovascular. They said just tremendous. A man 10 years younger. Yeah.
When's the last time you ran or biked or done any?
How many times have I told you that I am in top peak physical condition? Now I have the proof.
When's the last time you went outside and did a cardiovascular activity?
I don't know, but this man told me I had the cardiovascular condition.
You don't even mow your lawn.
No, I do not. Doesn't it make you sick how healthy I am?
Yes, it's annoying.
It's annoying, isn't it? How healthy I am. Man, what a letdown! I can't find this next comment.
Oh man, well,
I'm gonna keep looking though.
Yeah, feel free to chime in at any point when you do find it.
And this blood pressure was perfect, man. I got a big smile on my face just reading all this again.
I do have like pretty good blood pressure usually, which is always shocking to everybody that knows me because they're like, "There's no way," and I'm like, look." So.
Yeah. Dermatology came back. You know, no.
Hey, you got really the up and down here. You got everything.
Listen, you got to get looked at. You know, you can't fuck around with that. I'm a man who's terrified of death. You know this. Oh, here it is. Neck. My neck is described as supple. How about that?
Supple.
I've been marching around this house telling TLB, look at this supple neck. You know? Don't get on my case. Yeah, it says neck, supple.
Neck, supple.
No theromegaly or hemadenopathy.
Yes, I think you nailed both of those pronunciations.
The supple part is all that really matters there.
Right.
It says respiratory, non-labored breathing, no chest excursion. You know, you see some of these chumps, they're like, they can't go up a flight of steps. It sounds like they're dying. You know?
I think you said
Not
that.
me. Read the reports.
I think you said that multiple times that you've had that happen.
Cardiovascular, we went over that.
Yeah.
The abdomen, non-tender, non-distended,
Tender.
no abdominal masses or hemoplastomology, no costrovertebral angle tenderness. My abdomen is in phenomenal condition. I mean, there's just no issues here. It really was.
Those crunches are really paying off. That's good. Good for you.
Yeah, and then the whole roll-up is just said, unremarkable exam. This man is in top peak physical condition. Exact words of the report here. I may have added that part. But, it says unremarkable exam, and, everything's looking great. So I know that makes you sick to your stomach.
It really does. Yeah, I was really hoping this doctor was like, all right, you're drinking too much soda. You need to do something. Have you ever considered leaving the house or doing some sort of cardio activity? Right,
but none of that.
Nothing. It's like, do exactly what you're doing, Joe. It's perfect. Yeah, it's just.
You're a man with the health of a man 10 to 15 years less than his age is what this says. And I do nothing but drink. You can, all the burials for the Coke Z's, all of it. The Joe Eats, how do you eat that stuff? Listen, as you can see, I'm doing all the right things here.
Yeah, this reminds me. My dad had a doctor's appointment recently, and my mom's trying to get him to exercise more and eat better and all that sort of stuff. So she takes him to the doctor, thinking the doctor's just gonna bury his ass. You know what I mean? Be like, Rich, you gotta start walking. You gotta start doing this. You gotta start. And it's exactly like we walked in. He goes, Rich, everything looks phenomenal. And she's just like, fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Because now he's just perfect. He put feet up. I ain't moving. I'm not doing shit.
Yep.
If I don't want to change what I'm doing right now because the doctor said I'm in phenomenal shape, and it's just like, oh man, she was just hoping the doctor was gonna go, all right, Rich, I need to tell you this. You have to change your habits, you have to change your life, you need to be more active, you need to eat better. It's just like you. Now you're just like, everything that I'm doing is perfect. I'm a perfect specimen right now. So
so I don't want to hear any of this from any of you. It's very clear. Now this is like a victory lap for the Coke Z input, because clearly it's not too much. There's no negative effects.
I'm shocked by that. Did you disclose that at all? The amount of
Why would I talk about that? I feel great. So why would it even come up? You're speechless. You hate this.
Flabbergasted.
You wanted me to
I
not
am my
be
mom.
so
I am
bad.
my mom who just wanted you to get the worst doctor's appointment ever.
Yeah.
As be like, Rich, I'm gonna start mowing my lawn. I got a bike. I'm just gonna, I'm really gonna start.
Right.
Doing that, nothing. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
your sedentary lifestyle is phenomenal. So,
exactly.
Yeah, right.
Supple neck.
Your supple neck and what was the abdomen? It was something perfect. It wasn't perfect abdomen.
I closed the app.
It was some stupid description for your abdomen.
Yeah, phenomenal abdomen. My abdomen is phenomenal. Yeah, I try to tell you, you don't listen. I've been telling you for years. That's what living clean does.
Form.
Yeah. See, as long as you live clean, you don't have to do all that. You don't have to go out there and mow your lawn. You don't need to do it.
That is true. You do have the advantage over most people. You do live a very clean life. So
so that's a big leg up. All joking aside, So
which is going to prevent you from doing the Mountain Dew alcoholic drinks, but I can fill in if need be. Those I can fill in if that's.
Yeah. It'll be discussed. I think I'm going to do those Jack in the Box taco, those new mini tacos from Jack in the Box.
Yeah, so we don't have Jack in the Box here, and I'm kind of jealous. I wish we did, because
yeah,
you got all the good stuff in Texas. You got Jack in the Box. You got just a little bit of everything there, which I am a little jealous of.
Jack in the Box has a wide variety. I mean, Texas, they have a wide variety.
You got a little bit of everything. Yeah, you got just about every one of the major fast food chains is there. It's a melting pot of terrible food. So that's
what it is. Because when
Jack in the Box has egg rolls. Oh, gross.
Oh no, they're so gross. And listen,
I went to their website to see where the nearest Jack in the Box is, and it says get a free jumbo egg roll. They should pay us for this in the app using the promo code Jumbo Roll 2021. And this looks horrific. Holy shit!
It is horrific. It's also so great. Have you ever had Jack in the Box tacos?
Yes.
Like their regular
Yeah.
Oh, they're horrific.
But they're so bad, but they're also really good. Yeah.
You're like, this thing is like it's hard to describe because they're clearly gross.
They're vile. But they're also good.
But they're also, yeah. It's like this terrible taco shell, which is like way too
cracks
hard.
Immediately. It's like stale. Yeah. It's not good. Yeah.
Like half the taco shell is way too hard, and the other half is just a mushy mess. Like there's this dichotomy
These
going
tiny
on.
tacos look fucking awesome, though. Are you talking about these spicy tiny tacos?
The spicy tiny tacos and the loaded spicy
tiny
tacos.
Loaded. Let's go. Hell yeah.
So
those look fantastic.
That'll be the next Joe Eats, I think. Oh yeah. But when I lived in New Jersey, see, this is why you don't have. I'm going to tell you why you don't have a lot of different chains in your area. I know the answer to this. Okay, from being in the restaurant business, the more urban you are. So when I lived in New Jersey, that area of the country, it's very hard for new chains to break through because people are unaccepting of new things and less apt to try new things. And
we also have a lot
Chicago,
of smaller food stores. You know what I mean? Like we have there's
mom and pops.
There's 45 hot dog, gyro,
yes,
places, sub places around me. Like it just so yeah, there's no need to get shitty food from Jack in the Box when I could just go get something from whatever. Tony Steamers is the one by me, and Poor Boy is right around the corner. Like, you know what I mean? Like just around my corner, like literally within 2 blocks is like 5 or 6 different places to get hot dogs. So it's yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's been hard for chains to break through in more population heavy areas. It's always been that way. So that's the answer to that. Yeah, so I wasn't planning on running down my health situation.
There you go. Now you get another. Now you bragged to even more people about your tremendous health. So
yeah,
good for you. Well, I guess the segue I would say someone that you think is in tremendous shape right now is one Hangman Adam Page. Because let's get into the wrestling topics here. Assumption, obviously, that many people had that Page and Omega was going to happen at All Out, happen in a few weeks, but that is no longer the plan, and Hangman will not be at All Out. We also got this report from PW Insider that reported a little bit earlier today that, quote, the reason Hangman Page was not on last night's Dynamite was because the plan was always for him to take time off due to the upcoming birth of his first child. So, equipped with that knowledge and what you recently did on the Thursday TV reviews. Again, you don't have to obviously say everything that you said on Thursday TV reviews because I'm sure it was I did not listen yet, but I've heard from many people that it was a very, very an all-time great Lanza rant. But if you can maybe bite-size it here, Page and Omega not happening at All Out. Is this okay in your mind? Are you okay with this?
Hangman is fine. I don't know why anybody's concerned about this. I'll ask you, do you get the sense that fans are losing faith in Hangman Page or Hangman Page's story? Because I do not at all get that sense.
I would say right now, no. I think there's 2 different things going on. I think there is obviously disappointment that Page and Omega is not happening at All Out to a lot of, especially people that I know that are attending the show live that were under the assumption that was going to be the big moment was Page was going to beat Omega for the title at All Out. Like under that assumption, buying tickets, thinking, hey, that's the build, that's what's going to happen. I could definitely sense a disappointment there, and I'll admit that I'm a little disappointed as well because I always kind of figured that was going to be something on that show as well, that was going to be the highlight of the show, was going to be Page and Omega, and obviously there's other things that are now going to probably take place in All Out that are going to probably be just as important or even more important, but it is, I definitely get that sense that people are maybe disappointed that match is not going to happen. But I also don't think that that's like the end of Hangman, and they've Tyler Blacked him, and it's never gonna work. And when they do put the title on Page, it's just people are just gonna boo and or not react at all. Like, yeah, I don't think we're at that level yet. Now, talk to me in 3 months or 4 months, and if we're still like, hey, it's coming, then maybe. I think that there's definitely, I think they're getting pretty close to that date. But I don't think they're there yet. And I don't think it's like imminent. I don't think it's in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. But I wouldn't fuck around too much. I don't think I would fuck around another half a year or whatever with it.
The whole essence of this guy's story arc and character is that he gets close and then the rug gets pulled out from underneath him. And then he blames himself for the failures and lacks and goes right back to square one with his self-confidence. That's the whole story. So to me, this happening to him again with the 10-man tag, it just fits the story. But the thing about it is, and I talked about this a little bit behind the paywall, is one of the things I love in pro wrestling is a tortured babyface. I love that kind of story. I love when a babyface is constantly struggling to get there and they torture the fans and really make you salivate for it before finally giving in to you. I love that kind of story, and that's what this is. It's weird, though, because Hangman doesn't really connect with me, even though I like the basis of the story, and this really is a classic pro wrestling story. to tell with a babyface. But I don't really connect with the Hangman character. I don't feel like I relate to him. I don't feel like I have any kind of emotional connection to Hangman. But I understand why people do. And that's why I see what they're doing here. And I don't feel like they're in any danger of running this too long and missing the peak. I think when Hangman comes back, whenever that is, it's going to blow the roof off of whatever building he's in. And I think when he eventually does get the match with Omega and win, it's going to be the biggest moment in company history. And I'm pretty confident in that. I mean, I don't feel like they're playing with fire at all. And here's the thing. As you said at the top, it doesn't really matter in this instance. It's a moot point because he was never going to be booked for this show to begin with. And he wasn't booked for this show. So
right, which we'll get into it a little bit, but that kind of changes my perception of it, because my initial thought was, and it kind of plays on something that you've always talked about, is that, you know, tickets for All Out sold immediately, sold out quickly, and you know, there was no doubt that the entire building was going to be full and everybody was going to be there, except for the 10,000 scalpers, obviously, that are all buying the tickets and their names are all Tony Khan or whatever. But like, other than those people, you know, everybody that bought a ticket is going to be there. That my initial thing was it one of these things that you always talk about where, hey, if you buy tickets blind, the bookers and the promoters can kind of say, oh, all right, well, yeah, we were going to do this, but we're not going to do this anymore. We'll pull it back and we'll do it another time. We'll do, you know, we'll try to sell it on another pay-per-view. We'll kick it down, you know, kick the can down the curb and do it again and do it, you know, like, so I didn't mind, like, that was my initial thought is, okay, are they just changing this because All Out sold and now they're bringing in Danielson and now they're bringing in Punk, and so they don't necessarily need this match and yada yada yada, all that sort of stuff, knowing now that it was planned, that they knew was happening, that this was always going to be the case with him taking time off. It doesn't feel as nefarious as it would if they just said, hey, this is our plan, but hey, tickets sold really well, so screw that, we'll do it in, you know, Full Gear, we'll do it in St. Louis or whatever instead. Like, that would rub me the wrong way a little bit.
Or we have these shiny new toys now that we didn't know we were
right.
have.
Both of those seem like, yeah, it seems like, okay, we had the story ready to go, but screw it, we're not going to do it. We'll just do it another day. If they truly knew that this was happening, like the report says, and they knew that Hangman was going to take time off, that leads me to believe, and I have the trust in AEW right now, that they still have the story arc planned out, that they have an idea of what they're going to do, because it's totally different. If you're trying to peak towards a certain moment, and then you get cold feet for whatever reason, whether, like you said, you have new toys or, hey, fuck it, we sold the tickets anyway, then you're kind of building on, you know, okay, well, now what do we do for the next 3 months? You know, it kind of feels haphazard. It feels kind of thrown together. It doesn't feel like that's the case anymore for me. So now I'm not as personally kind of questioning it as much, if that makes sense. I'm disappointed again, like I said, because I wanted to see that match, but I still have faith that they're going to, in the end, pay it off, and it's going to matter when it pays off. Like I said, though, I think that they're not playing with fire just yet, but it's maybe getting a little hot.
See, yeah, that's where we're going to disagree. I think there's an emotional connection with this guy and the AEW fan base where I don't even sense that we're even approaching that point where there's any danger whatsoever. I know someone in the chat room brought up Lex Luger, and the example we always bring up is Tyler Black. And we've seen other examples too, where you wait too long on something and it dies out. But I would say in both of those cases, again, I don't think those fan bases had the same emotional.
No, God, Lex Luger was like 2 months. You know what I mean? And
no, they did kind of fuck with Luger with the.
Well, I'm saying like the build up to SummerSlam was like a month, 2 months, or whatever.
Okay. Yes.
And then he won, quote unquote. He won by count out, and it was just dorky because he was like, "Yeah, I won," and it's like, "Nah, you really didn't." And then
I meant Crockett. Yeah.
Oh, the NWO one. That's probably
more aligned with this.
That's
the WWF one. He just didn't get over.
Right. They forced him. They said, "Hey, this is our new Hogan," and everybody said, "Eh." And they said, "Well, he won." And they said, "Well, he didn't really win. He won by count out." And they said, "Oh, well, he'll win at WrestleMania." And then they decided about WrestleMania. Wait a minute, no. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, so that isn't the same scenario in my mind.
Right.
But in Crockett, it happened for sure.
No. The Crockett one is definitely an apt comparison.
And, you know, they may have missed the boat on him. You know, I'd have to go back and revisit all that stuff to see specifically. But the bottom line is I still don't think those fans had the same emotional connection to him as these AEW fans have with Hangman or the investment in his story. Lex Luger was just a really cool looking guy who got hot for a period. It's different than Hangman. Hangman, these fans are invested with this story deeply. And again, the other difference between Hangman and some of these other examples are these tough losses where he's getting the rug pulled out from under him, that's like the essence of the story to begin with. That wasn't the essence of Lex Luger's story. Wasn't he was a close but no cigar guy. It was more, with Hangman, that's his whole deal, because with each of these progressive losses that he goes through, losing to Jericho, being number one contender and then losing, getting upset by Brian Cage, now the 10-man tag, all of these things are adding to his lack of self-confidence, which is the essence of his story. It's not even about Hangman winning the title. In reality, it's about Hangman overcoming his lack of self-confidence. That's really what the story is. And winning the title is going to be the tool to achieve that. But that's going to be Hangman coming full circle and overcoming all of this is going to be when he wins that title and proves to himself that he can be a winner. That's what this story is. So I think things like losing this 10-man tag when it looks like he has a clear path to the title is part of the good storytelling that they're doing here. And keep in mind, as I said, I'm not even all that in. I am neutral on Hangman. I'm not even all that into it. So maybe I'm just able to see it with more of a clear head, and because it doesn't upset me. But I think they want it to upset you that he's getting the rug pulled out from underneath him again. The torture leads to the pleasure in this case. That's the whole, they're turning the screws on you so it'll be even sweeter when he finally does it. Mm-hmm. In all honesty, I feel like this would have been too soon to do it all out. I really do. I don't feel like it would have been bad to do it now or damaging or anything like that. It would have came off great. But I do get the sense that it's a little too soon. I think there's more story here to tell. And I think people need to just, like I talked about in the TV reviews, take a deep breath and just enjoy the ride on this one. He's fine.
Right. And what they've done is, and not to interrupt, but I think they've done a good job of giving you some different parts of the story right now, because now the cool part of the story moving forward is going to be whether or not, the Dark Order gets back on his good side, or whether he trusts them again or wants them to get involved. And so you're going to be building up to that moment where he finally goes, you know what? Yeah, guys, thank you for everything. You were right. I am great. I am, that sort of stuff. And that's going to be the first moment of him getting the confidence again to say, yeah, you know what? I am Hangman Page. I am pretty awesome. And the Dark Order, and that's going to be fun to try to see them sort of fight to, he needs, right now I want my space. I want my space. But there's going to come a time where he's going to want the Dark Order to help him again. And that will be a pretty cool moment, and that'll be a fun moment where he embraces them again and sort of takes it. And then, like you said, okay, you've now, not wasted is not the correct term, but you've used up, a couple, weeks or whatever, or a month or two of that story then of him and the Dark Order trying to figure out where they are or whatnot. And then it's like, okay, I put that beside me. I'm done. Now I'm back on focus. I'm back with the Elite. I'm back to Kenny, and I'm back to the title. And I think that's going to be a super important part of it. And, Andrew Rich brings this up in the chat room as well. And I think this is a very important distinction, and something that I have liked about the story so far, and I hope they keep this up, is that Hangman's not losing title matches. He's not going there against Kenny Omega and then losing. Because that I think does that to me, like you said, the rug getting pulled out from under you, I think is good if you're almost there and then you can't get to that moment. You can't face that guy. You can't get that big title match. You can't get that big title shot. I like that story a lot more than guy who gets title shots and then loses, and gets a title shot and loses, and gets a title shot and wins by countout, and gets a title shot and loses. Because that's what happened with Tyler Black, and that's what happened, with Naito, with somebody who a lot of people brought up as well, is that was what made that story maybe to some people feel less, that he had that moment, that moment where you were like, here comes the triumph, he's going to do it, and then he didn't do it. And that's where some people will lose confidence in a story and lose confidence in a guy. Hangman hasn't been there yet, so I don't mind that part of the story where he hasn't quite gotten to that. He hasn't quite gotten to Kenny. He hasn't quite gotten the Elite, and that gives you a little bit more intrigue of, okay, what's going to happen when he finally gets his hand on those guys, when he finally is in the right frame of mind, when he's finally got his confidence, what's going to happen then? And then it's up to them to understand it's the right time to do it and have him win that match. But yeah, I think that's an important distinction.
There's definitely times where it's important to strike while the iron is hot. I don't feel like this is one of those cases. I feel like this is a long-term story that they have. If they've proven anything in their short existence, it's that they really put a lot of thought into these long-term stories. And I'm sure they have this one plotted out to peak at a certain point. And yeah, you're going to have to adjust at times if certain things aren't working. But I think this one's working perfectly. I don't see any reason to rush into this one. He's got a lot of unresolved things in this story to take care of, some of which you just spoke about before he He gets all the way with it. And I don't understand what's the rush. I mean, enjoy the story here. We've seen stories like this before, and while in some cases with some acts it's important to strike while the iron's hot, maybe Luger was an instance of that. I think in other cases, the other extreme is I think there's some situations where the babyface should never win. I thought Tommy Dreamer should have never beaten Raven ever in his life. And by the time he did, it was kind of like it really didn't matter anymore anyway. But that should have been one where the babyface never, ever achieved what he was setting out to achieve. And it would have been okay. Tommy Dreamer should have been a tortured soul his entire career. Like his character should have been a tortured soul his entire, to this day, he should still be chasing that. It should still haunt him that he was never able to beat Raven. So I even think there's instances where the babyface shouldn't win. And there's a lot of good comps for what they're doing with Hangman here. I think Naito, people tried to compare him to Naito in a negative sense. And I'm like, what the fuck was negative about the Naito story? It drew $1 gazillion. It was booked perfectly at the end of the day. I thought we were long past pretending that Naito wasn't booked well. Weren't we done with that? All of a sudden, it's think about if Naito would have beaten Okada the first time at the Dome, everything that New Japan would have missed out on financial-wise. I mean, they drew literally millions of dollars with that Okada epic title run. We would have never got the Okada Omega series of matches, which are the defining feud of this generation. And then the payoff for Naito would have been the great payoff that we got with him in the Double Dome, being the first man to be the double champion and drawing 70,000 fans, by the way. You would have thrown that down. You would have flushed that down the toilet too. Everything with Naito worked out perfectly. You know why? Because Gato's a Hall of Fame booker and he knew what he was doing, and you were all wrong. And Gato was right. And that was proven at the end of the day. And what was I saying all along during the Naito story? Naito is fine.
Right.
Those people were never going to lose faith in Tetsuya Naito. Yeah, they were going to get frustrated when he came up short in a G1 or he lost another big match. But the torture was setting you up for the pleasure. And it all ended up working out in the end. He not only beat Okada, they drew 70,000 fans across 2 Dome shows when he beat Okada, and he achieved something that Okada can never achieve, being the first double champion. It all worked out in the end. And think about how much New Japan and the fans would have missed out on if Gato would have listened to all the dopey fans who thought Naito should have won the first time. It would have been a mistake, a huge mistake in hindsight. It all worked out perfectly. Naito was fine, and Hangman Page is fine.
So I have some bad news to let you know about, Joe. This came just from Chris Hero on Twitter, at the Chris Hero, obviously. He says, I'm shocked and heartbroken to tell you that our friend Jahmale, otherwise known as RealHero, passed away this past weekend.
You have to be kidding me.
I cannot believe, yeah. I was in shock. I was like, what? No way. What?
There's no way.
Yeah, that sucks. So, yeah, I just put a little, I put a little post up there on Twitter, but, yeah, I mean, this website, this podcast, I mean, I can't even tell you how much he helped this show and this website be what it is. You know what I mean? Of giving us access to Japanese wrestling for all those years, even back in the days when it was so impossible to find this stuff. And him and obviously Eric, RealHero Eric, just helping all of us access all that wrestling for years and years and years and years. That sucks. I don't know his age. I know he wasn't.
No, he's young.
He wasn't 70. You know what I mean? He wasn't. Yeah, he's young. So I don't know.
I can't even.
Yeah.
I
know. I didn't want to do it, but I just figured it's probably better just to say it now. At least we'll give him this moment here on this because he definitely deserves it and owns. You know, man. Sorry, I hate to interrupt the show with that, but it sucks. Yeah, we always good interactions with him as well. Yeah, if we didn't thank him enough for his work when he was alive, I feel bad. I feel like I should have thanked him more, you know, for obviously everything that he did for us.
It's oh man, it's
yeah. Between this and Zonka, it's been a lot of good people.
You know, I was just thinking about sending him a message the other day because every now and then I'd like to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, just tireless, thankless work over the years. And, you know, there's probably people listening to this who don't even realize that they owe this person for all of the Japanese wrestling that they've had access to over the last decade. I mean, it's just a tireless, thankless job. And for what? For nothing. Never asked for anything. Never asked for money.
We offered. I remember multiple times.
Never tried to monetize.
I said, Jahmale, what do you need? Like, let me send you something. He goes, no, I'm good. I'm like, no, you're staying up to all nights of the day. Like, you don't sleep. You're just sending us big Japan links. We like, go to bed, man. Like, it's okay. What do you need? What do you want? Never asked for anything, ever.
Never attempted to monetize it. The other thing is, once the streaming services started rolling out, you know, he wouldn't put up stuff that could be legally attained, you know? So it's like, just, yeah, I mean, this is just, that's a shocker, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is live. This is live. I'm just, I don't even know how to.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know if you wanted it to
No, it's fine
until after the show or
I couldn't
whatever.
have went
but,
the whole.
yeah.
This is huge, and I couldn't have went the whole. I would have, you know, we have to address. I mean, yeah, I mean, everyone listening who's watched Japanese wrestling over the last decade, I mean, you just
There's a good chance. Yeah, there's a good chance you watched it because of him. So
yeah, I mean, and just the tireless dedication and for no gain, no personal gain, just selfless and wanting to help the community and make sure people can see shit, and getting YouTube and Daily Motion accounts just fucking nuked every fucking other week, and just creating new ones. Just most people just would have thrown their hands, but this person, he was tireless, and everyone owes gratitude who enjoyed watching this stuff over the years. I am stunned.
Yeah.
Man, I thought you were going to do a bit.
No, I was reading it like 6 or 7 times to make sure it wasn't some sort of something, and you know.
Well, so you know, you can't overstate his importance to the community. You cannot do it. You can't do it. So, yeah, I don't know. He's a young man. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been older than 40. He was. He had to be.
No, I think he was. If I want to say, he was right around my age or younger.
In his 30s. I mean,
yeah, it was early 30s. If
the
I remember
point here
correctly.
is this was not an 85-year-old.
No, this isn't a man that should be dying.
Yeah,
Nobody should be dying at whatever age he
here.
is. For
That's
sure.
my point here.
Yeah.
So,
fuck yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. I hope it. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I hope it wasn't something super. It's tragic at that age, no matter what. Maybe he had an illness that he that he preferred not to share. I don't know.
Yeah, can't say for sure.
But this is some terrible news.
Yeah, he graduated high school in 2007. So yeah, that makes him,
14 years ago. So he's in his early 30s, right?
Yeah.
So he'd be like 31, 32, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Big sports fan. Yeah. Oh man. Well, that's going to change the tone of things.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, so I am talking to RealHero Eric right now. He was trying to RealHero Eric. Sorry, he was trying to reach us. He's not on Twitter anymore, but yeah,
he's not on Twitter anymore.
He's aware of it. He knows about it, and
well, they work together. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Man.
So how do you get in touch with you? Facebook or something?
Yeah, he got me on Facebook. Yeah, he was about to call me. He said because he's not on Twitter anymore. Yeah. He does have my number, yeah. So that would have been an interesting call to say, "What the RealHero Eric is calling me right now?"
Yeah, I mean,
I probably would have answered on a joke. Hey, RealHero, you know what I mean? Like, so
right? The hell do you want?
Yeah, what's up, Val? Put him live on the show and then find out. Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
And he, I see him at WrestleMania weekend every couple years or whatever, and shoot the shit with him. He was an ECW arena regular, Eric. And yeah, he did a lot of that work. It's the two of them. They were the tandem, getting all that stuff out there. This is just, it's stunning. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's just nobody, the work ethic If you don't understand the work ethic that this guy had, like, insane, like a show would go up, insert what I mean, like literally any promotion you can think of. Think of the dumbest Japanese promotion you could think of. K Dojo, okay? Let's say a K Dojo show happens. 8 hours later, who's in your DMs with all the links to all the matches?
Yep.
Is him.
Yep.
Even if you don't want him, like you're like, I'm not gonna watch this K Dojo. Like,
yeah.
I would kind of have that. I'd look at it and be like, man, I'm not watching this. Like, get out of here. I'm not gonna watch a K Dojo show from last night at Shinjuku Face or whatever. But it's like, hey, you know what? Hey, he's got the links. He's ready to go.
And the amount of work, and never tried to monetize it.
Never. And we always. I mean, there was one time where I think that he had an idea and then just said, screw it. Now I'll just give it for free. It's too much work, and I don't want to get in the legalities of it. Do it for the love. Do it so people can watch it. So insane. Yeah.
Well.
So there you go. That's unfortunate, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of.
I just got a text message. Now the text messages are coming. Oh, terrible.
But Chris Hero being the first one, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean that just tells you right there. Another guy, and like if you think it's just wrestling podcasters and shit that we're relying on that stuff. No.
Everyone. I mean, if
we used to laugh about how Zack Sabre Jr. and Chris Hero would do indie matches, and they were doing spots, from a. We were watching some Big Japan main event, and these guys are including it in the matches that they'd wrestle on a Friday and a Saturday for Evolve or AEW or whatever, and you're like, these motherfuckers, like, they're watching shit from him. They got the same DMs we got,
Chances are, if there's a Japanese match floating around out there from the last decade, it came through this source. I mean,
yeah.
So, yeah, man, just.
So yeah, I hate to break up the show there, but at least we got it out there. So
what do we do? Do we read an ad? I mean,
I'm definitely not reading an ad right now. I will definitely move on to another topic.
What do you do? I mean, I don't know
before we read an ad, but yeah, I and Death doesn't hit me as much as because I know it hits you much harder because it hits me real hard. Horrified by it and think about it every day. I don't as much, but this one, I don't know. This one got me for a little bit. When younger people die is when it really, and I don't mean to be like crude or anything like that, but when someone's like 32, it's just like, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not
reassess
fair.
Everything.
Yeah, you're like, God damn it. That's not fair. Like, that sucks. That's like, nobody should die when they're that age. Like, nobody.
No.
It's just, fuck, yeah. Awful. So that's that. Unfortunately, yeah, I think 31-32, it looks like some people are saying based off...
Well, that graduation date would put it at
his username it was RealHero 12089. So people were thinking that maybe
that's a birthday.
89 would be the birthday. Yeah, the birthday, the birth year. So yeah, but still, way too young.
Yeah,
way too young to pass away. So that sucks. So I'm sure you'll be hearing from many different people. And if you didn't know his impact and how important he was, I think over the next 24 hours, next week, you're definitely gonna know how important he was, because just unbelievable. Yep. Anything else on Hangman that you want to talk about? I don't know how to do this.
I don't think we jump back into the Hangman.
I'm not reading my bookie. All right, that's not what he would have wanted. So I think we got to talk Big Japan or something, right? Right? Like, we got to talk about this shitty Japanese indies. All right, what have you been watching? What have you watched lately, Joe?
I wish we had that kind of topic this week.
What kind of dirtbag? Yeah, if we had that topic, we'd probably strike the rest of this and just go deep into 2AW, go deep into Kaiji Tomato or some shit like that right now. So
yeah, I mean, if it's possible for him to still listen somewhere wherever he is,
he'd want us to talk about Shinjiro Otani wrestling in front of 7 people or something.
Yeah, he'd want us burying Hideki Suzuki or something.
Right.
Get a kick out of that. But we don't have any topics like that.
Yeah. He used to troll send us Hideki Suzuki matches. I remember that. Yeah. When he knew we hated him, he's like, "Hey, how about this one?" We're like, "Fuck you." And we'd watch every single one of them because we had to. And then like,
yeah.
I wish I was prepared. I know. I wish I was prepared. So,
well, the show must go on.
It does. Yeah.
We got to pull it together here. Rampage debuts this Friday. A lot of people will have seen Rampage by the time they listen to this, Rich. So do you think, so 3 title matches, keep in mind, this is a 1-hour show. if you think Dynamite moves at a brisk pace, we've got 3 title matches.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So listen, I have always been firmly in the camp that Tony Khan is going to do everything in his power to fight the B-show perception. I really think he is. I think they might not always be this big where you get 3 title matches and then you get, CM Punk returning the next week. But I think that there's going to be effort put to make sure that, it's booked with the same level of reverence as he does Dynamite. And then you see where the chips fall. Now, as far as ratings go, I think that the first 2 weeks are going to be huge, obviously, because you got a Kenny Omega title match on this one, and you've got CM Punk on the next one. Those are going to be big. I think where it levels off is going to be somewhere above those weird Friday Dynamites during the NBA playoffs, and somewhere and obviously below what Dynamite does on Wednesday nights. I think if people's expectations are that Rampage can do the same numbers as Dynamite, you don't understand Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's just not going to happen. It cannot happen.
Tough.
It will not happen.
It's just a tough time to have it. I mean, COVID time might be one of the only times where it's not, too bad, but in like a normal world, like Friday nights at 9 for most people, most young, especially the demographics that AEW are going after, most of those people are not sitting at home or by themselves watching, wrestling that night. So that's always a tough time slot. And it's why most places will try to avoid it like the plague. I mean, you have the NBA, who obviously will has no problem going on Friday nights, and some other sports here and there will jump on Friday nights. But more times than not, it's most channels just kind of throw whatever on there, or they throw stuff on there from 7 to 8. Your TGIF era, television or whatever. But 9 o'clock is a pretty late time for that. So is that 9? Is it 9 Eastern, 8 Central, or 10 Eastern, 9 Central? I honestly don't know. I was hearing people say 9, but
it's 9 for us. It's 10 Eastern.
So 10 Eastern. Okay, that's even that's pretty late.
Because it was the Friday Dynamites were 10 to midnight, and that 11 to 12 hour was just killing the average rating. Rampage won't have to fight that because it's only on for the hour. But the Dynamite numbers dropped like a stone after 11. People just fucking went to bed.
Yeah.
Okay, so they won't have to contend with that awful second hour, which is also going to help the average to some extent. You know what? While I'm talking, make sure let me double check this because I'm questioning myself.
Because the problem is I have friends asking me, "Hey, what time do you want to go to the show next week?" And I'm like, I don't know when the show starts.
I don't know when the live. Well, listen.
Yeah, I don't know when the live or what they're taping or what the hell. I have no idea what's going on. So yeah, that's.
But yeah, 10 to 11 on Friday is look. I wrote an article about this behind the paywall, but the show that generally wins that time slot on cable is Real Time with Bill Maher. And Real Time with Bill Maher usually does somewhere in the teens in the demo, 0.14, 0.15, 0.16. Just to give you an idea, that wins the demo. So people just aren't watching TV at Friday at 10 o'clock. We already knew that. I mean, people are out, especially in the 18 to 49 demo. People are out. Okay, so it's a tricky time slot. So you're going to see a lot of bad takes, ratings, when the ratings settle in for this show from people who just don't understand what Friday 10 o'clock entails. It is 10 p.m. Eastern, correct?
Okay, there we go.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is indeed.
Yeah. So that's a really tricky. Now the first 2 weeks I think will do okay, and then I think it'll inevitably fall off from there. Just like the first when any show the first couple of weeks of Dynamite.
Yeah. But there's going to be some random October mid-October week when it's like it's probably going to do pretty shitty because people don't want to stay up till 11 to watch a wrestling show. So
Look, Turner is going to be thrilled if this show does in the 0.2s in the demo because nothing they could air is going to do that Fridays 10 o'clock. And I think it'll do that because that's what the Dynamites were basically doing. If they can touch 0.3 for certain weeks, I mean, that's fucking enormous during that time slot. And, the Punk show obviously is going to be the peak of what you can do with that. I would say whatever that number is going to be the peak of what you can do Friday 10 o'clock. So we'll see. But these first two are going to be big. I mean, we've got Omega versus Christian. So let's talk about Kenny Omega a little bit because he's got the Christian match for the Impact World title Then over the weekend, he's got the AAA world title match against Andrade, 2 world title matches against 2 AEW wrestlers in 2 other companies for a guy who hasn't taken a loss in a long time. You see him losing one or both of these?
So I was reading. I see. I'm not as in tune with AAA storylines all that much. I know that Cubs fan who did a really great preview for us at VoicesOfWrestling.com speculated that it might be a good time for him to drop that Mega Championship because obviously you have Andrade there. They have some plans that they want to do in AAA. I could probably see him losing that one, and I'd say I think the timing is getting about right for him to lose the Impact one. I don't know if I do it this week though. To Christian. I don't know about that. I don't know if I love that idea because if you're going to really run that back, if you're actually going to have Christian face Omega again for the AEW title, it's a little too 50-50 booking if, and that's me just kind of speculating that they're going to move forward with that. If that's the case, I don't want Christian beating him for this title and then losing, losing the AEW. It's just, I don't know. That's to me a little bit too 50-50. So I don't know. I see him losing the AAA title, but I don't know about Impact just yet.
The thing about it is, a lot of people think Christian's going to win the Impact title because they feel like Christian needs that to heat up the program. And I can see that argument because it doesn't feel like a hot match. But the thing about it is, and we didn't really get into this when we talked about Hangman, but I don't feel like the Kenny Omega Christian match at the pay-per-view has to be a hot match. Because if you're going to have CM Punk on the show and or Bryan Danielson or whatever else they have planned, because we don't even know the card yet, then this could be one of those scenarios where your world title match isn't necessarily the top drawing card on the show. So you don't need a super hot challenger if CM Punk is going to wrestle for the first time in 8 years or whatever it is. Okay. So, but it is odd that they're doing 2 Kenny Omega Christian Cage matches and they don't do screw job finishes in AEW. So we're going to get a winner. They're not going to come out of the gate with like a DQ or something.
Yeah.
And, it wouldn't make sense to beat Christian because then where's the appeal unless it's a real screwy finish and then they add a stipulation to the pay-per-view match. That's the only way I could see it. Where it's very obvious Christian would have won. Except
right, no
whatever.
interference. If you interfere, you lose the AEW titles. Something like that is what you would maybe.
Yeah, you'd add whatever kind of stip you're going to add that, or because it feels weird to have Christian beat him.
Yeah, I just the visual of like Kenny
Christian
eating a fucking unpretty or whatever, and just getting a 1, 2, 3 and holding a title up, like it's just gonna make it. I don't know that heats it up or it makes it just kind of weird. Like, because then the next week Kenny's just gonna fucking V-trigger him and pin him and then beat him, and it's like, oh, all right. Like,
I will say this: I don't want people to get confused. I'm not excited about a Kenny Omega Christian pay-per-view match, but I understand a Kenny Omega Christian pay-per-view.
Right, you understand the business reasons or the story reasons why that might happen. Yeah.
I mean, we can eliminate the Hangman thing because, as we stated, that was never happening anyway. But I also agree with the idea of not burning off a super hot challenger here because you don't need to. You don't need to. You could save all your super hot challenges for later because theoretically Punk is going to be your draw here. Now, if they roll out this card, because again, we don't even know the card. If they roll out this all-out card and Christian Kenny Omega does turn out to be the main event and the top drawing attraction, I reserve the right to change my mind and bury that. I'm working under the assumption it's going to be like, in reality, whether it goes on last or not, second or third from the top. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not like I'm gung-ho about this match. I don't think anybody really is. Although I will say that the segment last night was hot. I mean, it didn't start off hot, but they won that crowd over, and that was a hot segment by the end of the night. I'm still not super fired up about it, though, because I don't think anyone buys Christian as a serious threat to win. But again, that's okay if you have other bigger stuff on the show. So I really don't think – I'm not as worked up about Christian being in that match as some other people are. Where do you stand on that?
I just haven't really liked anything that Christian's done so far in AEW. He's fine. He's like a super competent pro wrestler, but I'm never excited when he's on the television. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
It's like, You're like, oh, Christian, this is going to be fine. Like people being like, because I tweeted out that I'm not too excited about watching these guys live. And people were telling me, yeah, it's going to be a great match. And I'm like, yeah, but like, a great match in a vacuum is just, it's fine. You know what I mean? Good matches are good matches. That's fine. It's all about the interest and the build and the excitement and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just never excited when he comes out. And I don't know if that's a me problem. I don't know if it's a booking problem. I don't know if it's a Christian problem. I don't know what it is. It's just nothing he's done so far in AEW has really gotten me excited. And I guess they have a few weeks now and they have this Rampage episode and they have a few things to do to get me to that level, to get me excited. But right now it's just, he's fine. Like, I know it's going to be a good match, but to me, it just definitely doesn't feel even like an AEW title match. It just feels like, I would have no problem with that as like a TV main event. I would have no problem with it as a Rampage main event. That's no problem at all. Like, that's perfect for me. I'm just having a real tough time thinking about it as a title match on a pay-per-view, even with a bunch of other stuff happening on that pay-per-view that's just as big. It feels like too much of a throwaway to me. And that's, again, like, that might be a me problem and not necessarily a Christian or the story problem. That's just maybe how I feel about it.
The way I look at it is this. If you're in a scenario where you don't need a big-time world title match for a pay-per-view for whatever reason, you're doing a War Games or a Blood and Guts, or CM Punk is made, for whatever the reason is, Christian's like the perfect guy for that, though. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think,
absolutely. Yeah. Because he's going to go in there and have a solid-ish.
He might have a great match.
It could be great. Yeah, it'll be probably the minimum. It's going to be like a 4 or 3.5 star match, and it could go to 4.5. You know what I mean? Those guys can go out there and bust their ass and really make it work. So, no, I'm with you on that. Where, like, when it's one of those things where I have no excitement whatsoever for it, but when it's done, I'm probably going to say, hey, that was a damn good match. I'm glad I watched that.
Yeah, it's like I see other people saying, all right, well, if Paige was never going to work, then maybe you could put Malachi Black. Why would you burn that off?
No, God, no.
Would I rather see that? The answer is unequivocally yes. Of course I'd rather see Malachi Black and Kenny Omega. But there's no reason to burn that match off when you have CM Punk wrestling for the first time. Again, I reserve the right to backpedal on this if CM Punk is in fact not wrestling on the show. I'm working under the assumption he will be. So, no, I wouldn't burn off Malachi Black or, whoever else you can come up with, which would be a bigger match, because I don't think you need it. So you could do that shit at Full Gear down the line or whatever the fuck, when you don't need it now. But if you're someone who doesn't approach pro wrestling or follow pro wrestling's business side, I could totally see why you'd be annoyed with Christian getting this match. I get it, but I also understand why it's happening, and I'm not particularly super worked up about it like some other people are. That's all. But now the match on Friday to me is fascinating because I have no idea how. But isn't that good that you don't know what the fuck is going to happen?
No, I want to watch now. Like, I've already made my plans that I'm definitely watching Rampage because I'm very fascinated by how they do it and how they get around it and if they pull the trigger and just have Christian beat him, if they do, I'm definitely intrigued. Leaving this, I have no idea where they're going, and that's all the reason to watch.
So Britt in Pittsburgh against Red Velvet, and then Miro is going to murder Fuego del Sol. And if Fuego del Sol, he finally gets his contract. So that'll be, So do you feel like they've done enough to come out of the gate strong with the lineup that they have this Friday?
I don't know. To me, I think it's
knowing that they have Punk come into next week.
Right. I think next week is going to be awesome. Like, next week's going to roll and everyone's going to talk about it. And I'm obviously going live, so I have even more of an interest in seeing it. But this week, I don't know. It did kind of sneak up on me this week. I won't lie. Like, it wasn't until, watching Dynamite and they're like, oh, we're, debuting on Friday with Rampage. I'm like, oh yeah, that's this week. Like, yeah, okay. I don't know. I think there'll be a little bit of interest, but I do think there will be a shocking, and like you said, maybe a lot of bad takes about the rating, because I don't think it's going to be a huge rating. I think a lot of people are probably going to be waiting until that next week. And then obviously the doors are going to be blown off on the 20th or whatever. I don't know. This one, I think it's an okay show, but I don't know. I can't say that I'm super excited about it, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the ratings play out. The buzz seems low, though. Would you agree?
Well, they never, the only match we knew about until yesterday was the Brit match. So I feel like if the Kenny Omega Christian match had been, had been set up prior to less than 24 hours ago, there might be more buzz leading into this. So I don't know if but that's on them, right? I mean, if, that you can say that's on them. I feel like the first Rampage is going to do well. I feel like if you're putting a Kenny Omega world title match on a show, it's a big show. How about that? Is that a fair answer?
Yeah, but it is the Impact world, or well,
it is. It's not. Look, it'd be obviously bigger if it was the AEW.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
But it's a Kenny Omega world title match, asterisk if you want, since it's Impact. That's big. And I do think, since you have Punk the following week, I don't want to say you can dog it a little, because I don't think they did. I think this is a pretty solid lineup.
No, they didn't dog it. This lineup. It's a good lineup. It's just it's
3 title matches. I mean,
right.
I mean, one of them's a squash, but there's 3 title matches.
Everyone's looking towards next week, and next week is branded. You know what I mean? It's the first chance. It's UC.
If this, in a world where Punk isn't coming back, does this feel bigger? Is the reason you're kind of like looking for? Is this kind of like the old NFL thing where you're looking past the Jets because you got the Patriots?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's like why I don't care about this episode. Give me the 20th. Give me there in the United Center. Give me there live. Play that Cult of Personality for me. Let's go.
Right. So it's
and it feels like it's that way for them. I mean, it's branded. It's at the UC. You know what I mean? The United Center. I keep using the UC. Sorry, nobody knows what the UC is except for me and my friends that live in Chicago. But yeah, right. Like the UC. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, asshole? But no, like, you know what I mean? Like that. I'm looking ahead to it. But you're right. Like I don't know. That might be a me thing as well. But I think everybody's kind of anticipating that 20th, and I don't know if that hurts or helps. I think it probably hurts this debut episode because it feels like a lesser episode. And like I said, what's going to happen is that Punk's going to happen, and then maybe some things are going to happen on the first, and it's going to settle at some point. And then it's going to be October, and like you said, we'll see what Rampage settles at. And like you said, bad takes will be numerous at that time as well. But I don't know. I'm very fascinated to see, and I guess that's another question that I wanted to ask to you as well. Is like, what is your general feel for Rampage? Is this a show that you're looking forward to in general, not just this first episode, not just the Punk one? December 15th, whatever. I'm just throwing a random date out. Like, are you like, hell yeah, Rampage is on this week, or do you not know yet? Do you need to see what the show's like?
I'm bullish on the idea, like I said, that it's not going to ever feel like a B show, because I think Tony Khan knows better. I think he knows the history of wrestling and how every fan just assumes, well, like usual, it's just going to eventually turn into a B show. I think he knows as well as anyone that it's important to not let that happen. So I am bullish on the idea that it won't. And because of that, I am excited about
internally, that has been the number one quote that everybody brings up about Rampage. Anytime a guy is asked about Rampage, Cody, Tony, anybody, it's not going to be a B show. It's not. It's an A show. It's our second A show. It's our 1A. It's our 1, 2A, 1 AA, 1B, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's that. Like, it is neck and neck. It is an important show. They know it's important. TNT knows it's important. TBS wants it to be important. We think it's important. Like, is that all? Is that all just kind of dressing? Is that all just kind of PR? We'll see. I guess we'll find out pretty quickly. But it seems internally that the idea is, no, we're not going to treat this thing like it's some bullshit show that we're just putting on to put on.
History is working against me, but I trust them.
Yeah.
I just think with this guy running things, he's going to make sure that this doesn't become Thunder or Main Event or Superstars, which all started off like this is starting off, but slowly became what they are today, which are nothing shows. Well, Thunder doesn't exist today, but you get the idea.
It is very much a nothing show. Yes, these days. Yes, Thunder.
Yeah.
Thunder's terrible these days. It's not good at all. But
no, to answer your question, yeah, I'm excited about it because when I watch Dynamite on Wednesdays, I'm ready for more because the show has been good. So to get more 2 days later, and I think they'll do a good job building from Dynamite to Rampage and vice versa.
Yeah, and that's the key. That's the key for any wrestling. It's something that a lot of wrestling companies have lost sight of. But there is, obviously, we live in a content world where content is so important, but you definitely don't want people to ever finish your show and say, I'm satisfied for wrestling. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need any more. I don't want any more. I've gotten everything I need. And you don't want to, and the key with Rampage is going to be, and this is so far Dynamite has been able, pretty much over the last 3-4 months, has been able to just basically every single week, you don't want to skip a week of Dynamite. You know what I mean? You don't want to miss an episode of Dynamite because you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. every week leads to. I mean, this week was a so-so show that I know, a lot of people have been kind of like, it was okay, it was fine, and like I think it was a good show. It just wasn't anywhere near the level of what they've been doing over the last couple months. But that's the key to Rampage is you never want to make it skippable, because that's when shows fall into the trap of I'll check it out every so often. And very often you don't go back and check it out. Or very often it's on the DVR. You maybe watch it, it's Friday night. You're not going to cancel your plans. Like, that's going to be important for them to make sure that it stays important and it stays relevant and it stays appointment television. And that is going to be tough, but I do trust these guys more than a lot of the other guys that we talked about. More than 1998 WCW and more than, 2010 WWF with Main Event or Saturday Morning Slam and all that sort of stuff. I do trust them a little bit more right now. To do that, especially in an hour format too. An hour format, the way that they write their shows, I mean, that it might feel like it's 20 minutes when it's over. You know what I mean? Like they just let wrestlers go out there, cut a promo, match, promo, and it's over. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that much time. An hour. You go back and watch like I'll go back and watch old Nitros and old Raws, and you just can't believe like it's only an hour. You know what I mean? It's just like, guy comes out, cuts a promo, match, and you're like, oh, that was an hour. Okay, it's just, it's a whole different animal than a another 2 hour show or another 3 hour show would obviously be. I'd have less faith in it if it was another 2 hour show, whereas another hour show they can do that. That's not that hard.
And you're not asking a ton either of the viewer to add another hour.
Yeah, an hour is nothing.
It's going to do enormous DVR numbers. Is what's going to happen because their audience skews a little bit younger.
It's going to be Saturday. It'll probably be Saturday morning viewing for me for sure. Like I'll check it out on Fridays when I can, but I think a lot of times it's going to be a Saturday morning show for me.
Yeah. So we'll see how that does moving forward. That's AEW, and then as we listen, I talked about this behind the paywall too. It's really going to ramp up for that company starting now until the pay-per-view, because you got the debut of Rampage. You've got the Dynamite next week in Houston with the Young Bucks title match and MJF versus Chris Jericho. Then you've got the Rampage with CM Punk. Then you've got the Punk follow-up, and boom, we're into All Out. So this is going to be a real hot period for AEW right now over the next couple of weeks. So
yeah, they're too successful. They're victims of their own success now, because now it's a real big boy time. You got 2 shows a week. You got big pay-per-views to do. You're selling out buildings. You're back touring.
And then the Grand Slam gimmick after that. All the attention will shift to that.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Fuck. Forgot that's even coming. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and then that's right around the corner. And, I forget who made this point. Maybe someone in our Discord, but they were right. At times it feels like, I understand they have pay-per-views in this company, but, like something like Grand Slam almost feels as big or bigger than the pay-per-views, especially with the new revenue models and everything. I mean, you're in a 20,000 seat building in New York City. So that's going to feel like a pay-per-view when that show happens. Remember,
right, and
that's Dynamite.
And that's important to do. And that's something that I think early Nitros did a very good job of doing. There was Nitros when they were in the Georgia Dome or whatever, like the famous Hulk Hogan-Goldberg match or whatever. I mean, that show felt way bigger than any pay-per-view that they had done that entire year. And I think I don't think that's a negative. Some people see that as a negative because they become so used to the the normal structure of a bunch of shows happen and then at the end of the month there's a pay-per-view and that sort of stuff. And AEW's been able to kind of not do that and obviously change the game a little bit and stick with quarterly and do it pretty successfully. And the key to that, if you're going to do the quarterly pay-per-views, is that you have TV specials that feel important and feel fun and feel interesting. And so far they've done that. And yeah, I think that the First Dance is going to feel that way. At a sold-out giant building with, CM Punk. The Arthur Ashe show was obviously going to feel super important. They do the beach shows. They do the boat shows. They do that sort of stuff. It's so important because it adds freshness to the weekly TV as well. It doesn't feel like weekly TV. Again, like I said, the skippable stuff. You cannot skip those shows. Like, you have to watch those shows because they feel important in their weekly catalog. And that's important to continue to go as well, to make it, like you said, not necessarily a pay-per-view, but feel as important as a pay-per-view and not just feel like, oh, it's another TV show. Like, you don't want to get into that trap. And so far they haven't, and I hope they continue doing it. I think it's an underrated thing that they've done so far, but they've done it very, very well.
Well, they can. I mean, the TV is more important now.
Yeah.
So you have more incentive even to make sure that doesn't happen. But we talked about Omega. So you got Christian on Friday, and he's got Andrade this weekend. TripleMania. 29. Let's go over that quickly since we're already talking about it. Andrade has a chance to really redeem himself. He's lost a lot of stock in people's eyes. He has a chance to really redeem himself here because he's got this match against Kenny Omega, who gets the best match out of everybody he wrestles. And then he's got Pac at All Out. So it's put up or shut up time for Andrade. I mean, he has a chance to go out there and have two really great matches, and one of them in the main event of a major pay-per-view. So we kind of talked about Omega Andrade already, but man, I mean, this really has a chance to be a really great match. So let's quickly go through the rest of it. We've got Fabio Apache versus Diana Perazzo. This is champ versus champ. This was set up when Fabio Apache won the what's the female equivalent to Rey de Reyes? I don't speak Spanish.
Oh, fuck. I forget what it's called. Yeah, I don't know it either. I'm sorry.
Queen of Queens. The Queen of Queens. We'll go full gringo on this
one. Yeah, so, that's what we need to do. Yeah. You are, what is a stock? No, what were you? You were a white man. I forget what the other descriptors were.
Oh, yeah. I already forgot it, too, and it was an hour ago. Damn it. Well-nourished and whatever the other, yeah. But,
well-developed, and
well-nourished.
Well-developed right? and well-nourished white man. That's what we are.
White male, yeah. So anyway, she won that, and then Perazzo was there on commentary, and then she stepped up to her and challenged her. I watched that show. So it was no fans, so it was hard to tell if the angle came off super hot or not. But that was the setup for that match. So that could be a pretty decent match. I mean, this card looks good. I mean, you said it before we went on the air.
Yeah, it's a hell of a card. I really didn't anticipate it being as good of a card as it was. And then, I was editing Cubs fans preview, which you should absolutely go out of your way to check out, voicesofwrestling.com, which we'll talk about in a little bit because watching this show is going to be a little difficult, but we have some ways we think that we can help you out with it. We'll talk about it at the end of it when we preview this. But I was going through and editing his preview, and I'm thinking, TripleMania, there's no real buzz on TripleMania right now. AAA's kind of been a mess because of some legal situations going on there, which Cubs fan goes into detail as well if you want to check out that preview of why this is such a hard show to watch or whatever. And then I'm kind of going over every match as he's recapping them. I'm like, it's pretty good match. That's a pretty good match. And I get to the end and I'm like, fuck, that's a great show. Like, I have to watch this TripleMania show. Like, I got to watch this thing live or at least watch it, as soon as we can. So I am planning on watching the entire show. So I don't know about you, but going over this, blown away. Yeah, we always watch TripleManias. We always at least watch the main event of a TripleMania, but this is our TripleMania if you're my man Matt Striker. So.
Yeah, I mean,
but no, it's a great card. It's a great card on paper.
I've kept up with AAA this year. I mean, I watched all. It's the Reina de Reinas, I believe, right? Is the female.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
But Laredo Kid, when he won the Rey de Reyes on the same show, Tejano attacked him, but then Tejano quit the company.
Yes, right? So he's gone. He's in some other weird company now, which. Mexico is a very, very, as it always is even more odd than it ever has been before in terms of people moving and new companies and Alberto Del Rio and stuff. So it's just, yeah.
So I'm wondering if they intended to do Tejano versus Laredo Kid here, but with Tejano gone, they put him in the other match. I don't know. That would be a better question for Cubs.
Well, and also trying to figure out AAA booking is probably a losing cause.
That's, You know what? You're right. I put way too much thought into it. That was just... Yeah, it could have just went nowhere.
Sometimes things just don't happen.
Right. Well, here's something that'll happen. Someone's losing their mask or their hair. Psycho Clown versus Rey Escorpion. So
you can't take the mask away from Psycho Clown, right?
You know what? I wouldn't put money on Rey Escorpion. I wouldn't do that.
Ray's got like a ponytail and a little bit of hair. I think he could probably lose his hair much more than Psycho Clown could lose his entire identity in this match.
I don't know what my bookie has on this one, but it's not going to be favorable odds for.
Well, we have a my bookie read coming up. We'll have to check if they have any action on TripleMania up here. But
just put the whole payroll on your whole bankroll.
Yeah, I would guess that Ray is getting a snip here, but we'll see. We'll see.
So we're getting another Marvel match. We'll see who shows up.
Yeah, we're getting a Marvel match. Yeah, last year was like Leo Rush and Brian Cage and I forget who else, but who fucking knows? Yeah, Iron Man will come out, do some shit. I guess I don't know. Like,
we got a battle royal with only 3 names so far.
Yeah.
So
this is the one that always has the incredibly loud countdown and the explosion. Blows your eardrums every time it goes.
Well, so far we've got Mr. Iguana, Mamba, and Drago.
Yeah, so big battle royal there.
Gato Eveready. My man Gato Eveready.
Yeah.
But you know what I want here. I want Dave the Clown.
It is probably his time. Yeah. It is probably his time for him to win this.
Well, I'm going to be disappointed if there's no Dave the Clown here. Okay? It's non-ironic. I enjoy Dave the Clown. Okay? AAA tag team titles, Lucha Bros versus Hijo del Vikingo and Laredo Kid. And then Taurus with is that a mystery partner for Taurus?
It is. I believe it is a mystery partner for Black Taurus. So.
I haven't read the Cubs preview. Is he speculating on the mystery partner?
Let me see. I don't remember now who he speculated on.
See if we could have the producer pull that up.
Yeah, I'll have him work on it here. But I think it's Cubs fan is smarter than us and usually just like shrugs when like.
Yeah.
Like, because you were like, well, maybe it's going to be, and he's just like, I don't know. Like, it's AAA, man. Who fucking knows? Like,
right.
Could be fucking anybody. Like,
yeah.
Could be nobody. You know? Yeah, I don't think he's got anything. He has no clue. I don't think so.
And then we got the new heel unit, Sam Adonis, Azul, who made the big jump. They're calling him DMT Azul. And Puma King. I haven't seen Puma King wrestle in a long time. He's just been slipping through my crack. I guess he hasn't been places that I'm paying attention to. And they're taking on the Team AAA, Pagano, Chessman, and Murder Clown. So that was the other big angle they did at Rey de Reyes many months ago. I guess that would have been in May, I want to say that show was. Where at the end of the show, they had the big angle, where Azul showed up and they created this new faction, which I believe Andrade is the leader of. So that's the deal with that match. But
so here's what Cubs said about the potential mystery partner. He says, AAA hasn't said much about this partner outside of hinting it's a former ROH tag champion, which brings to mind both Dragon Lee and Bandito. It was hard to know how serious that tease was meant to be. It's another thing AEW or AAA hasn't followed up on at all, and it was said in such an offhand way that I wouldn't be surprised if they back off of it. Whoever the person is, AAA's kept it a deep secret so far. So
that tease was probably so subtle that only Cubs would have noticed.
Right, and they maybe didn't actually mean to say it, or they had an idea of bringing a Bandito in, and the Bandito's not going to be there, so no, they just didn't say anything about it since.
Or whoever said it was just kayfabe speculating.
Right,
or
you never know. Maybe Hugo's shooting on his own. So who the fuck knows? Yeah.
Do we have any updated names for this Battle Royal or no?
We have zero. We have that's it.
I want to know if Dave the Clown is going to be in this.
I mean, sure. I don't know. Yeah, we got nothing. We got three guys.
I'd really just prefer Lucha Bros versus Vikingo and Laredo, honestly. I don't even need the team with the mystery fucking partner.
Yeah. Like, I like Black Taurus, but I think that match is incredible without... Like, Black Taurus is great, and whoever that other guy is will probably be good, too. But the idea of just Phoenix and Pentagon versus Vikingo and Laredo Kid, that's enough for me right there.
And AAA always overbooks everything. I mean, this is a very subdued TripleMania, like, in terms of... This is like not that overbooked.
No, there's no hamburger. There's not some fucking 27-person tag match to open the show.
Thank God, Hamburg Cuesta and fucking.
They're probably going to be in the battle royal though, for sure, right?
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't talk.
Yeah,
too
just
soon.
hold off on that. But yeah, you don't have like sometimes it's like 11 matches and there's like 15-person tag matches and you're like, Jesus Christ, let's go. Like.
Yeah, the whole mixed tag division they have is so bad. I mean, I never got into that. Who was Hamburg Cuesta's? He had the love interest, and they told the whole story where what was her name? Big Mommy.
That's
Big
right.
Mommy.
Big Mommy, yeah.
Yeah, I can't stand her. Like I'm such a grump.
Mommy,
I'm the only person that doesn't like Big Mommy, but it's just so corny to me. Big Mommy is someone who people in AEW talked up big before the pandemic. She probably would end up coming in and might come in once things, cool down with the pandemic a little more. So I'd keep an eye on that. Well, actually, who even knows? Is she even? I haven't seen her wrestle.
I have not seen her anywhere. I admit that I don't watch as much Lucha as obviously you or some other people do, but I have not seen her anywhere as far as I can tell. So
she hasn't been on the AAA shows. Oh no, she's working regularly. She just worked on the 7th on a AAA show, so a lot of freelance stuff as well. No, she's still there working the TV.
All right, well, she'll be on that battle royal then for sure. So,
working as much in 2021 as you can, I guess. Probably about 11, 12 matches to this point. Most of them in AAA. But, actually, it's a pretty strong lineup. Rich, how can people watch? Because they can't air this. Okay, we should.
Anywhere. Yes.
So they can't air this in America because AAA is suing themselves. So
yes, yeah. As I said, Cubs fan does a better job of laying it out than we probably can. But
yeah,
this is all rooted in Lucha Underground. That goddamn Lucha Underground. We told you guys it was trouble. We told you Lucha Underground was nothing but trouble.
Yeah,
and here it is. It's still rearing its ugly head because
yes, it is.
Somebody bought the rights to it. I don't know all the. Like I said, Cubs fan goes over all the details. But somebody bought the rights to it, and now AAA, which technically was owning Lucha Underground, but kind of doesn't own Lucha Underground now, is suing AAA. It's a disaster. So regardless, outside of Mexico, you can't see anything.
The point here is they can't air it in America legally because the money would have to go to the former owners of Lucha.
And they don't want to do that. Yeah. They probably smartly don't want to make a bunch of money for the people that are suing them. So I get it. I understand what they're doing here. It's kind of a disaster. It's pretty terrible that it came to this point. But there is ways around it. There is ways to do it. So if you're in Mexico, you're good. You can watch it on Space or Azteca 7. So you're good.
And we've got Mexican listeners. Yes. So you guys are good.
Cinepolis or Cinepolis movie theaters, you can watch it on as well.
Yeah.
And on Facebook. It'll be on the AAA Facebook if you're in Mexico. But unfortunately, if you're anywhere but Mexico, you're not going to be able to see it. Unless, Joe, you are one of those smart people that uses ExpressVPN, voicesofwrestling.com/express. Then you can live in Australia like I do. You can live in the Docklands like Joe does. Or you can take up residency in Mexico City, man.
No, I think we would have to take up residence in Mexico City in this case.
Yes. Well, I'm saying you on other days you could live in Australia or the Docklands like we do.
But I will be vacationing in Acapulco
this
weekend, so I can watch TripleMania.
I don't know if you want to be in Acapulco anymore. More of a better place to go in the 80s than it is today. But
you always say that. You're always burying Acapulco. You are not a member of the Acapulco Chamber of Commerce. That's for sure.
Punta Cana. Go to Punta Cana. It's nice.
Okay, that sounds fine too.
Yes.
We'll go. Can I go to the Yucatan Peninsula? Is that even in Mexico?
Sure. Yeah.
Can I go to Baja California?
Yeah.
This weekend?
Yeah, that counts. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. When I was a little kid, that always confused me because it wasn't attached to the rest of Mexico.
It's really
and
weird.
I was like,
and it's like it's called California, and it's off there.
Like,
so
I don't like parts of countries that aren't attached to other countries. So when I was a little kid, I was always like, why don't we just give Alaska to Canada? It would make more sense.
I agree with that, to be honest. Yeah, the Upper Peninsula, like, what are you guys doing? Just let Wisconsin have it. There's no point in Michigan having the Upper Peninsula.
Michigan's another great example. That should be part of Wisconsin. Baja California, Tijuana should be part of California.
They can have Tijuana. They can have it. I don't really want it. It's fine.
You're burying all these great
I've been to Tijuana, sir. Have you ever been to Tijuana?
I've never been outside of America. No, that's not true. I've been to Niagara Falls. But
and you went to the Canada side? Or you just went on the boat?
I did I did go to the Canada side.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
The better side. The much better side, by the way.
But that's like being in America anyway.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count.
It does not count at all. But no, you're burying Acapulco. You're burying Tijuana.
I have never actually been to Acapulco. I just know it's interesting. It's an interesting place these days. But yes, those are all great places you can live in. Durango, you can live in Durango. Monterey.
Yeah, to live in Monterey.
Mexico City, as we said. You want to be in the Yucatan?
How about Puebla, the Thursday CMLL shows? I go to Puebla.
Sure. Great. Right. You said Cancun, you mentioned, I think, earlier?
Or is that the Monday CMLL shows?
I don't know.
I'm asking you, like you know.
Yeah, like you're asking me.
That Puebla building?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a voted Lucha viewer, Rich Grage, yes. Cancun, Playa del Carmen.
There you go. I'll go to Cancun, yeah. But the point here is, if you want to watch the show, give the link, Rich.
There you go. voicesofwrestling.com/express is how to do that. So that's a pretty much guarantee. All you have to do is live in Mexico for that day on Saturday, and you can watch TripleMania. There is also a potential other option as well. Cubs fan is going to try to stream it on his Twitch channel. He says it has worked in the past. He has no guarantee it's going to work this time, but we're going to see how it ends up working. But details on that.
Here's the thing, though. We don't get a taste of that.
We don't get a taste of that at all, and that's,
We want to get a taste. The whole point of this, okay? And it's a good taste. Let me tell you.
Let's be honest. You should just have ExpressVPN anyway, because you really watch the actual WWE network. You can. Netflix opens up Netflix in ways that you never knew it could do before.
MLB.TV, no blackouts.
Yeah. If you're one of these people that lives in Dubuque, Iowa, and you can't watch a game that's happening, 30 minutes away from you, fuck that shit. Get on ExpressVPN and live in Cancun, and then you can watch the Field of Dreams game.
Right. Absolutely.
Good stuff. But yep. So that it's ExpressVPN. So that's ExpressVPN or what? VoicesOfWrestling.com/express to sign up for ExpressVPN, and then live in any of those towns that we just mentioned, and you'll be good to go. For TripleMania, but yeah, do not expect to just plop on somewhere and find it. It's going to be very difficult. People will probably be searching around like crazy, going to different links, all that sort of stuff. Don't ExpressVPN. Don't fuck around with that stuff. Go ahead. But definitely, if you can, read Cubs Fans Preview at voicesofwrestling.com as well. Extensive details, even more details about what's going on with AAA, and a little bit more of the stories going on with the show. But yeah, we'll both watch it. We'll preview or we'll review it definitely on next week's show. For sure. So, let's get to this. Let's do an ad read here. How about that, Joe? How about a seamless ad read? I did look this up. The cowards at MyBookie are not taking action on TripleMania, unfortunately. But
well,
they got early action on SummerSlam though, Joe. So you ready for this?
Oh, they've got the SummerSlam.
Yeah, we got two matches. We got two matches.
All out or no?
Nothing for All Out yet. They need to get on that. They need to get on that. Yeah.
Which show is first?
SummerSlam.
Right?
SummerSlam will be first.
It's in August. Yeah. All right. Let's. We want to read.
SummerSlam's next week, man. SummerSlam's next week already.
I know.
We'll have to talk about that. I Saturday is a weird. It's also on a Saturday this year, and
it's the hottest party of the summer.
It is the hottest party of the summer. There's also the day that I go to a all-day beer fest. The one that you had remember the one year you had great concern about my livelihood and my well-being.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Because I checked in, I had it like attached to my Twitter account once when I was checking in on beers. And you're like, Rich, this is like the 30th beer you've had today. Like, what, are you okay? Are you all right? And I let you know they're little sips. Like, I'm not drinking, full beers, but it did seem excessive. And I do drink to excess on that.
Well, you told me you drank 30 beers, and I'm just thinking of Andre the Giant. So
yes,
it's like,
right. Yeah. And you were right. I mean, make no question. I was very drunk. I just wasn't as inebriated as you thought I was. And then, after that, so there's the all-day beer fest, and then across the street from my house is a scuzzy all-night flea market as well that goes until like 3 a.m. that I usually attend. That's the one. That's the one where I met Greg Valentine and had a discussion with Demolition once. So
yes.
The 25-minute discussion with Demolition that ended with Perry Darso saying, "You guys gonna pay us or what? Like, you guys want an autograph or what?" And we said no, and they went, "All right, hit the brakes."
Right? Yeah.
I'm sick of talking about SummerSlam '89 with you assholes. Like,
tired of you freeloading at his table.
Right? You gonna buy a fucking autograph or not? Get out of here. I love it.
Do you want this?
It was Bill Eadie that just in mid sentence, I was saying something. He just put his hands up and said, "You buying an autograph or what?" I said, "I wasn't thinking about it." He goes, "All right, hit the bricks." All right.
That is fantastic.
Fair enough.
You can't really blame him.
Don't even end the sentence. I don't care what you're talking about. I'm done with you, kid.
Yeah.
Like, go. And this is like 1 a.m. There's nobody in line either. You know what I mean? It's not like we're stopping anybody else from getting autographs. They were just sick of talking about Survivor Series 87 with me or whatever. So,
right.
The
big double turn of power.
Right. They're like, we don't care, man.
They don't even remember.
Right.
And you're they don't remember or care.
Right. But so that we'll see about a Summerfest, hottest party of the summer instant reaction. We'll see how that goes. But I guess it could be a very fun instant reaction or a very bad instant reaction. But SummerSlam books odds on my bookie here. Women's championship match. You ready for this one?
Sure.
You got Nikki Ash minus 125.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rhea Ripley. I was gonna say we're gonna give you a reason why you might want to start. We're gonna do the normal ad read, and then I will encourage many of you to maybe get on here before these change. Rhea Ripley plus 150, Charlotte Flair plus 250.
I mean
that Charlotte bet sounds real good.
I hate to do the Bill Simmons bit again, but if you can get a Charlotte at plus 250, you have to take it, right?
You gotta take it. Yes, you gotta take it.
When else are you going to get Charlotte at plus 250?
Right, and they're just trying to pile up title wins for her, especially now that they took away her NXT title wins, which will segue into our next segment here. But they've taken away all of her NXT title wins, so they need to get that number up pretty quick, just in case. So,
just from a value point of view.
Yeah, plus 250 for Charlotte Flair. Yeah, that's
the kind of bet you make, and you can't be mad at yourself if you lose. It's just the value is just too good.
And then the heavyweight match here, Universal Championship. Roman Reigns -500, John Cena +300. So
yeah. That's, you really got to lay some heavy lumber to make any money on that at -500. But he ain't losing that match.
I don't think.
I mean, is there a possibility they could do a quickie switch and give it back to him? I don't think so, because you're going to ruin his momentum too.
Right. I don't. Yeah, I would just I'd probably just avoid that one.
Yeah, you can't make any money on it.
There's no point in doing that one. But definitely get on the Charlotte Flair one. But we're going to tell you right now that, Joe, in the world of sports, the offseason is a time to relax and regroup after a hard-fought season. But playing with MyBookie gives you the chance to decide when your season begins and ends. At mybookie.ag, you can bet on hundreds of games and leagues from around the world, whether it's a game day parlay or a long shot winner. MyBookie's got you covered. Use pre-game props and bet the game live to shift the odds in your favor and always come out on top. And not only does MyBookie host exclusive sports betting contests you can't find with any other book, but the bonuses are insane. If you sign up today at mybookie.ag and use our promo code VOICES, again, at mybookie.ag, promo code VOICES, you'll receive up to $1,000 in bonus money when you make your first deposit. That's $1,000 in extra cash. These idiots are just going to give you $1,000, up to $1,000 in extra cash when you make your first deposit with MyBookie using the promo code VOICES. So as we said, Charlotte Flair +250. I'm not saying to put $1,000 in, but, you know, you want to make some money, and it might not be the worst. That is just we can't, what is the term? It's not an actual endorsement. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Entertainment purposes only.
But I'm just, +250. I'm telling you, that's not bad. Anyway, up to $1,000 in bonus money to make your first deposit. MyBookie.ag, use that promo code VOICES. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Again, that promo code is VOICES to receive up to $1,000 in bonus money when you make your first deposits. All right. You want to talk about NXT?
Yeah, let's go through this, because what a mess this is, huh?
It is a disaster. So obviously on Friday, news came down that a bunch of other people were released from NXT. Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, Jake Atlas, Ari Sterling, Kona Reeves, Leon Ruff, Stephen Smith, who's a referee, Tyler Russ, who's been there for like 3 months, Zechariah Smith, Asher Hale, Giant Zangier, which I'm very upset about Giant Zangier getting released, Mercedes Martinez. This is the 2021 total, nearly 50, and the stars released from WWE over the last year, since last April, over 100 at this point right now, released from there. But a bunch of names. We didn't feel it necessary to really do like an instant reaction thing or like a, hey, where are these guys going to go? Because we've now reached the point where it's like, there's a lot of guys that are having to go to a lot of different places. You know what I mean? It's not the same as, hey, 4 guys got released. Hey, where do you think this guy is going to go? Or where will that guy end up? Like, we're just emptying the chambers here. Like, this is mass exodus is going on from NXT. So it's not even worth breaking down where they're going to go or what they're going to do, because who knows? I mean, it's they can go anywhere at this point. There's a lot of different places they can go. There's a lot of different things going on. But this appears to just be the beginning of things going on. The Mat Men podcast obviously talks about this a little bit, that they have heard that this is only the beginning, that many, many more are coming down, which stands to reason given what's already happened this year, that this is not the end, that more people are going to be released. PW Insider notes that there has been talk of major changes coming for the brand. These changes would include a new logo, new lighting, and a focus on younger talent along with a different format to the show. There's also rumblings as well. I believe Dave Meltzer had this, that the future of NXT and whether Vince McMahon really wants NXT to be the way it is right now, or wants it to focus on, you know, more top tier stars. I think the terminology he used is guys that can main event WrestleMania. That appears to be coming down the pipeline as well. So NXT, as we know it, I think is pretty much dead and gone and changed. And I guess now's the time to kind of have this discussion instead of like, hey, where's Bobby Fish going to go? Or where's Kona Reeves going to go? Like, what's next for these guys? I think we have to talk about NXT in general, in kind of a macro sense of what is this brand moving forward, and what should it be, and what is it going to be, and what has it been in the years, you know, that we've seen recently. Because, and we've talked about this for you. If you've been listening to this show, there was a recent review that said these guys say we were right way too much. And I want to tell this guy, you can't reply to a review or whatever. If we're right, we're going to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, what are we supposed to do? We're not going to stop being right.
Right.
So we're going to keep bragging about being right. Because how do I not say we were right when we're right all the time? Like,
well, you know,
Like when we say stuff, we have to say, well, I mean, we told you so. It's like, it's part of the thing.
Come on. Yeah. That's what we do here.
Right. And we're just always right. If we were wrong all the time, you wouldn't hear us say that. But we're not.
God, this show's so good.
Right. Like, what does this guy want? This guy wants us to be wrong more, and I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to continue to be right. But we have been saying for years, and I think the moment that you and I...
Listen, if you want a show where they're wrong more, you're listening to the wrong show.
Right, because there's plenty of other dumb podcasts where they're wrong all the fucking time. It's not us, Go listen to something else, because we're going to be right. Anyway. But I believe it was, I forget exactly the date it was, maybe 2016 or something like that, where there was the news that NXT was going to go on the road and they were going to start touring across the country. And I remember you and I going on the show and saying, this is the moment that they will cease to be what they were before, and they're going to be something all the way different, and it's probably not going to be for the better. And the reason we said that is because at that point, that's when Finn Balor stayed on NXT for another year. That's when Adam Cole was signed, and that's when Kyle O'Reilly was signed. That's when this guy was signed, and that guy, and that, and they signed a bunch of guys. And the idea was, we're going to draw with these guys. They're going to go on the road with us, and NXT is going to be a traveling brand. And we came on the show and said, this NXT is going to be very different than the NXT before it, and we don't know that it's going to be successful, this new direction. Because the second you lose, the people come and go, people rise, people move up to the next level. It's developmental. We said this is no longer developmental. It is now a third brand. And they started to kind of adopt that terminology as well to NXT. Oh, we're a third brand. We're a third brand. We're a third brand. And we, at the time we said, this might not work out. This might be for the worse. And after a while, it wasn't immediate. It took a little while till it was. And it was obviously, they were selling out buildings like crazy. They were doing really well. They were drawing. They were doing all that sort of stuff. At that time, it seems stupid to say that, but we see now in 2021 that direction, that move, all those years ago to say we are now going to start touring, we are now a third brand, ended up really doing them in more than almost anything else. And we're going to talk about it in a bit, because there's a lot of things that have happened to get NXT to this point. But that to me was one of the big moments when we on this show said, okay, remember this date, because NXT is going to be very different from this date forward. And there's going to be different expectations of what NXT is going to be. And it's not just going to be this fun little plaything like it was before. Now they're being relied upon to draw into buildings. Now they're being relied upon to keep talent and them to develop talent for themselves so that they can draw on the road and do all that sort of stuff. And they're not going to be able to just send a guy up to the main roster. The main roster is not going to be able to say, hey, we want this guy and we need him right now or whatever. It was going to change everything with NXT, and it absolutely did. But there's so many other things that happened as well to get NXT to that point, but that is one of the moments that I'll always remember on this show, us saying, remember this date, because things are never going to be the same again with NXT. And I don't think they were. I mean, they really never were, but there were a lot of other things as well. But NXT, I mean, let's start at this point here. You're Vince McMahon, and you're Nick Khan. You traveled to the PC, you did the tour, that happened a few weeks ago. Do you make the decision that Vince is making right now and say, what the hell are we doing here? What's going on here? Get rid of all these guys. Get rid of this. I'm changing everything. Do you think he's right to make that call? Because I kind of do think he's right to make that call. And that's kind of a hot take from some people. I know some people are kind of, I don't think what's happening is wrong. I think they're on the right path here with what they're doing. It's just, it's in a weird way, and it's Vince McMahon, it's Nick Khan, it's done in a very soulless way. But I don't think that they're wrong for the direction that they're going with NXT. But what do you make of what's going on and what the future holds for NXT?
Well, I think you kind of just summed it up. It ceased being developmental a long time ago, and that never really should have happened. We constantly talked about how now their developmental needs a developmental.
Yeah, they need to develop their own talent to draw.
Right. Yeah, like NXT is like another brand now. Well, they need a developmental now. And yeah, I think with the timing of it, I think Vince is embarrassed that AEW kicked their ass so thoroughly and completely on Wednesday nights. And I think there's an embarrassment factor there. And I think to some degree, it's him saying, okay, I've been hands off of all of this for years, but now I've got to take control. You're not feeding us stars, which is the intent here. And look, that we all know that's part of Vince's doing.
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that's a lot of this company is that sort of stuff.
But I'm saying from his perspective, he probably sees it this way.
Yeah, sure. And he's not wrong. From his perspective, he is not wrong.
He's not wrong, but he also is wrong, because there's nothing Triple H or even any of these wrestlers can do once they get into Vince's hands.
Yeah, sure.
And if you're going to call them up and just beat them like a drum or change the things about them that got them over in the first place, that's on you, but he's not going to see it that way. From his perspective, just not giving them stars. I mean, you look at the biggest success stories from NXT, and a lot of them were people who Vince changed the least from what got them over, like Kevin Owens. They changed nothing. He got over in NXT and then came to the main roster and has been the same guy ever. I mean, there's a pattern here. But when they try to put their claws into something and fuck with it, that's where Vince always gets in trouble. But I'm deviating from the point. The point here is he sees they got their asses kicked on Wednesdays. He doesn't see them funneling stars from his point of view. So he went down there and took a look around and said, we're doing this all wrong. Enough of this, vanity show that you put together with your co-opting of the indies, which we all should have listened to Bruce Mitchell when he said it. We all dumped on him, but he was right. That's exactly what Triple H was doing. I remember burying him on Twitter and on here when he made that point. He goes, Triple H is co-opting the indies. That's good. His attempt. That's what's going to happen here. And we're all like, no, they're not. That's exactly what went down. And Vince is obviously sick of this. And he wants it to go back to what it was supposed to be. A training school to develop stars for the shows that matter. So I agree with you. Why are we warehousing 40-year-old wrestlers who are never going to be stars on the main roster? That's not the point of this. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of assets. Why are we warehousing people who I think are too small and don't have a proper television look? It's a waste of asset. It's a waste of money. And when you look at this wave of cuts, one of the through lines here for most of them, not all of them, but for most of them, are they're old. They're older wrestlers. Mercedes Martinez, Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed. Two of those people are in their 40s. One is in their late 30s. Ari Sterling, another guy. Alex Zane is not a spring chicken. Kona Reeves is the longest tenured member of NXT. He was there for like a decade. Okay? It was clear that age was a major focus. We've got to get rid of these older people. If I don't think I can call them up today and make them stars, they got to go because it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
And they're taking up a spot. And then some of the others were probably had more to do with look. Like he probably took one look at Leon Ruff and said, why?
Yeah, right. You're 5'1". No. Get out
No
of here.
offense to Leon Ruff. But, that's not what Vince McMahon sees in his star pro wrestlers. He probably took a look at Jake Atlas and said, you couldn't be blander. I can't do anything with you. So the ones where it wasn't age, it was something else. I know nothing about the 7-foot ex-basketball player they cut, but from everything I have heard, he stunk. So maybe that's the reason. All right, well, this guy stinks. Him and Giant Zangier, they're never going to get it. We've got tall guys on the roster already. They got to go. These cuts seemed like they were just the classic redundancy cuts. So I kind of see where they're coming from. If they're restructuring the whole thing, there's not a lot of people on this list where I look at them and say, well, they're making a huge mistake. Bronson Reed, I think, is a big mistake.
That one I think is going to he'll pay them back for sure.
And I think
he's going to go somewhere and do some good stuff for sure.
Yeah, we'll go through each of them. But I think, why don't we just do that? Why don't we go through each of them?
Yeah, and before we do that, though, I did, and there's some great stuff. I mean, we had VoiceOfWrestling.com. We had Garrett Kidney wrote a great article about, the failure of NXT. And we've had a bunch of people. It's been something that a lot of people have wanted to write about and wanted to theorize about and discuss or whatever. And I think it's fascinating. It really is fun to discuss sort of what got us to this point. And we've talked about it for years and years and years and years about, in terms of what the original plan of NXT was, what the point of NXT was, and what the strategy for Vince McMahon and for Triple H and for, and a lot of what NXT's growth was, and that this isn't like the case of like your Sami Zayns and your Kevin Owenses and your Finn Balor. Like, I truly believe they hired those guys thinking that these guys would become WWE superstars. That's not what I'm counting. I'm counting then it became that second wave of big signees, and you were just signing anybody that you can find on the indies. Every single person that got even a modicum of buzz, they were signing up and scooping up or whatever. And then you talk about NXT UK, which exists solely to not let World of Sport happen. World of Sport's going to happen on ITV, and they say, "Fuck, we can't let that happen." And they sign everybody in the UK that wanted to sign, basically got given a blank contract and brought on board, and like it was all sort of anti-competitive stuff. Is what NXT soon became. Okay, we built this little thing here. We built our kind of pseudo indie or kind of pseudo super indie. Well, let's make sure that the alternative, we are the alternative. That when people are looking for alternative wrestling, they don't go to New Japan, they don't go to Ring of Honor, they don't go to Progress, they don't go to Rev Pro, they go to us. We have the alternative. We have NXT, we have NXT UK, and that plan worked for a little bit. But I think the big failure, like you said, is what happened many years down the line there, where then Vince kind of relies on NXT. Okay, cool. We got this upstart indie that, like, I don't know why these guys are even here. Or I don't know how the hell they even got here. But we'll put our indie up against them. We'll put our company up against their company or whatever. And they got slaughtered. Make no doubt about it. NXT got slaughtered by AEW. Absolutely slaughtered by them. And that, I think, was the moment where Vince finally said, okay, my plan with you was you were going to stomp out all competition. You were going to have your little vanity thing so that I could focus on the main show. I could focus on the main stuff, and I don't have to focus on anything else, and yada, yada, yada. But you failed. You didn't stop this competition from happening. You maybe slowed down New Japan in America. You slowed down Ring of Honor. We stopped World of Sport from being a big deal in the UK or whatever. But what the fuck? Why are these guys coming? Why do these guys have TV? Why are these guys doing this sort of stuff? And Vince can say all he wants about there not being competition, but he put his show up against it. The show that he thought was going to beat their ass. He didn't put NXT up against them on Wednesdays, thinking, fuck, we're going to get slaughtered, but who cares? Whatever. He thought we were going to beat their asses. Everyone's going to laugh at AEW, and they're going to be out of business in a year. That didn't happen.
Mitigate them.
Right, mitigate them enough where they don't get that second TV
sure
deal, or they just don't grow enough and that didn't happen. So that had to be the moment where he lost faith in, okay, you're not developing anybody, which is one, and that might be a self-fulfilling prophecy, like we said, and it probably is. But, you look at that roster in NXT, and I don't know how, there's a few guys that I would say are dudes that could be something, but in recent years, it's really become kind of like, I don't know. There was a couple years ago where like a Ciampa and a Gargano and an Andrade, obviously, and an Adam Cole and those sort of guys. Yeah, those guys should be on the main roster, should have been stars, should have been pushed and all that sort of stuff. And there's a new crop of guys that I don't know. There's not really that much inspiration that I have in the top level of NXT right now in terms of drawing stars. And hell, it's most of those same guys that I just mentioned as well, with guys that should have been up already.
You used to get pushed and then lose on a takeover and then get called up. It stopped being that a long time ago, it just completely got away from it. It hasn't been developmental in a long time. So to get back to your original point that you pitched to me, I agree. I don't think this is like the worst thing that Vince is doing here to refocus this for what it was supposed to be.
Right, because you're not developing stars for me. And I tried to have you stop the competition. You couldn't do that either. So what am I doing here? Why am I investing millions of dollars in this thing? Why am I paying for this $1 million facility for you to not only get your ass kicked, but then you're not giving me stars either? So what the fuck are we doing here? Why do we have 400 people doing hip toss classes? And I'm with him. I agree with Vince McMahon. I agree with Nick Khan. I agree with everybody that got down there and said, what? This is not the way it's supposed to be. This is not what it's supposed to be. And we'll see what they think it's going to be. We'll see over the next few months what they think it's going to be, or what the next few years or whatever, what they want it to be or what they think it's going to be. And I don't know if that's going to truly be a success, but this isn't a success right now. So, I cannot blame them for thinking, what are we doing here? Who cares? We don't need, and I'm just throwing a name out here. I'm not picking him up, but like, why do we have Ari Sterling under contract? Like, what are we doing? Like, sell me on what this guy is here for. And they can't give you an answer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they can't give you an answer of why some of these guys. And again, I'm just picking him out as a name. He's one of 75% of the NXT is like a guy that's just there because he's there. Because
he was a hot indie name, and Triple H likes to collect the hot indie names and
have William Regal go to PWG and sign everybody that he likes. And that's what they did for a couple years. And they got all those guys. And what did it do? It wasn't like they weren't signing. There was a while where they were signing, like I said, when you brought in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and Finn Balor and Kenta and those sort of guys, I get it. Those guys, yes, they plucked them from top places and got them from places, but I believe in my heart of hearts that they thought that Prince Devitt, Finn Balor, was going to be a star. And he fucking won a world title. You know what I mean? Like, they pushed him as a star. Kevin Owens won a world title. Kenta obviously had injuries or whatever, but they didn't sign that guy because they thought he was just a guy. Like, and that's where I think it, like you said, it changed, where they were just Anybody that got any sort of buzz, they were signing, scooping them up, all that sort of stuff. And that's when it lost its way. It lost its way when it stopped being developmental and it was just signing everybody under the sun to be anti-competitive. And in the end, yes, they stomped out some competitors. They definitely did. They destroyed the European scene. They destroyed some other, smaller scale companies in America, but they didn't stop AEW. They didn't stop the Elite. And a lot of guys that they passed up on got scooped up by AEW. A lot of guys that they gave big bags of money to said, no, we're good. The Bucks.
Yeah.
Kenny said, no, we're good.
I think if they had either mitigated AEW or if it was still competitive, or if they were funneling all these great stars to the main roster, I don't know if any of this would be happening.
No.
But I just think they see it as a complete failure, and that's something that needs restructuring in the worst way.
I agree.
Or
I really
refocus. So Bronson Reed is a guy who I think this one might be a big mistake because, I mean, there has to be a use for him on your main roster. Look at him.
Yeah.
And the way he can wrestle. And I know he's a little older, but you call him up. Call him up there. He doesn't need to be there.
He doesn't need to be in developmental. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. Hey, can you know where the hard cam is? Yeah, it's right there. Cool. You're ready to go. You're 32. Let's just go.
He's a veteran pro wrestler.
You're right.
I mean, he didn't need to be. He's even older than that, isn't he? Isn't he like 36 or
something? No, he's only 32. He's actually only 32.
All right. He's younger than I thought. But he, like most of the people there, he did not need to be there, and you could have had him on the main roster. And he is motivated. He is not taking this hard. He's on Twitter talking about how he can't wait to get back out there. And, he is going to be an asset for someone. I don't know for who, but you haven't heard the last of Jonah Rock. He'll be back out there. And he'll be having good matches for somebody. Bobby Fish, I think, like I said, this is an age one, right?
Man, we really screwed Bobby Fish, didn't we?
You did. You brought him up.
I really feel bad. I'm sorry.
You could have brought up any name. Bobby Fish.
They have 450 people under contract, and I'm like, who doesn't ever want to leave NXT? Bobby Fish. Perfect job for this guy. I'm sure he loves it in NXT. He's never going to leave. Oh, man.
He's 45 years old.
Sorry, Bob. Yeah.
He's 45 years old. Now, he's still a great wrestler. And you would think that there'd be room for a couple veterans to work with people on the road or whatever. But he had a good run in the company, though. I mean, he obviously never got called up, but a good NXT run. But he was an older guy, and I think that's what doomed him. And I think we could throw Mercedes Martinez in this same bucket and talk about her at the same time because they're very similar, right? Solid wrestlers who everybody respects, who are just very long in the tooth. And I really think it came down. I think if either of these people were 30, they don't get cut.
Joe, are you still there?
I am still here.
Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. You cut out for a sec. Sorry. What was the question you had before? I didn't hear you talk for a second. I wasn't sure.
My roll-up point on Bobby Fish and Mercedes Martinez basically is this. If either of these people were 30, I don't think they get cut. Then I left it for you.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right in that this wave of NXT cuts, it's all like there's a pretty clear idea, except for like Bronson Reed and maybe one or two others, that there's a clear idea of why it didn't work for them and why they were let go. I'm very curious if the more ones come down and there are a few more of those. Wait, really, that guy too? Because I don't know how much of a clearing we're getting here. Like everybody seems to think that it's going to be a lot more people, that they're maybe just waiting for this next takeover to go, and then a bunch of other guys and girls are gone. That'll be very curious to see, because you're probably right that if they're 30, but it might also be like, hey, if you don't have a fucking plan for this person to be a superstar, then no, we're good. And that's, for somebody like a Bobby Fish, I don't know if good solid veteran hand is enough to save your job anymore.
Well, and Mercedes Martinez is in her 40s, and she was on the main roster and asked to go back.
Right. Which I'm sure did not endear herself very well to Vince McMahon.
So Jake Atlas, let's make fun of him for a while.
This is next to Dennis Schroeder, an all-time bad bet on yourself here. Not quite as bad as Dennis Schroeder, but pretty close.
I know people get touchy about this stuff. Oh, people lost their jobs. But, I mean, he made a terrible decision to take this job when he could be in AEW right now. and would probably be being booked very well and in a much more positive work environment.
And also,
he made
everybody said it. Anybody with a brain
Everyone
said it at the time. So it's also this like, oh, well, you didn't know you had to take a chance on yourself. Literally, anybody with a brain would have told you, bro, not a good idea. I don't know about that. I would go to AEW or I would stay on the Indies. Everybody with a brain said that. So no,
no one thought this was a good call. I mean, there were people who, like you're saying, AEW was right there. Shoot best friends with Jungle Boy. He would have been there if he wanted to be there. And a lot of people thought, just stay on the Indies. You're new at this. Do the Daniel Garcia route. Like, stay on
work
the Indies
everywhere, wrestle everybody, win every title. Go travel the country, try different styles, do different things. Yeah, get in there and grind for a little bit.
And he chased the dream, and we all kind of thought it might not work out because. Who does it work out for? I mean, it almost works out for no one.
Right.
So it's like, and you can see where they might
0.1% of people main event WrestleMania. So it's probably not going to work for you, pal. But just to let you know, but that's fine.
And you can see where they might think he's a little bland. I mean,
I certainly can. I definitely can. So
He's a talented guy. Don't get me wrong, but does he blow you away with his charisma or his look? Or no, he does not. He's a guy who could have used a lot more seasoning, and now he has a chance to get it. It was like you said, this was just an all-time bad decision. For some people, WWE is a good decision. I mean, we don't say it's a bad decision for everyone. No. There'll be some people on this list. All right, we're done with him anyway. Let's move on to Asher Hale. This is the former, is his name? The Workhorseman.
Anthony Henry.
This is the former Anthony Henry. He's 38 or 39 years old.
He's 36.
He's 36. This was a good move. He did the Evolve thing.
Yeah, it was definitely now or never for this guy. It was definitely now or never. I don't have
any problem with him taking a chance here.
Looks like it has a good look too. Looks like $1 million. I see it.
He's the guy. Yeah, marketable look. I agree. Like, Jake Atlas, early 20s, he didn't need to do this yet. And it probably set him back to some degree. Because now if he goes to AEW, he has to start from square one, right? Asher Hale or Anthony Henry, man, this guy's been down every road. This was his opportunity. I didn't have any problem. Same thing with Zayn. Let's throw him in there, Alex Zayn. Another guy in his 30s. He didn't make a mistake by giving this a go. So those two guys know. Jake Atlas, he made a mistake.
There was
anything else on?
I was going to say Jake Atlas. I think he had a tweet.
Yeah.
I forget what the exact wording was, and I'm just paraphrasing here, but it speaks to exactly what we're saying, that like this guy doesn't need to be doing that. And it was a tweet where he said, I've been, for the last, year, I've been working every single week with Roderick Strong in the ring on extra stuff. And it's like, okay, that on his face might sound good. Roderick Strong's a great wrestler. You're learning from a very great wrestler. You're in the ring with him. You should not be wrestling the same guy every day for a year. You know what I mean?
In a warehouse with no fans.
Right. That's not good.
Right.
It's good to have, pick the brain of Roderick Strong, but you should be wrestling Roderick Strong one week and Daniel Garcia the next week and Calvin Tankman the week after that. And then this guy the week, you know what I mean? Like learning different styles, learning how to work with different guys, learning how to adapt, you should be facing Daniel Makabe on one night and Brian Keith on the next night and Davey Richards on this night, and that's because those are three totally different wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like you learn so many different styles and learn how to structure a match with a big guy. You learn how to structure a match with a grappler, a mat-based guy. You learn how to structure. Roderick Strong's a great wrestler, but you're gonna learn Roderick Strong stuff. You know what I mean? And that's it. That's all you're gonna learn in that warehouse. You're gonna learn hard, and that's what we always say about the Performance Center. Like they have this sparkling facility, but we have yet to see the fruit of that labor yet. Who had, the question always comes up, and everybody always brings us three names. You know what I mean? They'll bring us Bianca Belair. Why are you not mentioning Bianca Belair? Okay, great. Bianca Belair. This is $1 million. They spend millions every single year on this thing.
Yeah, in 8 years, you can give me, the same three names that everybody gives us. It's, I'm not impressed. Now, all these people we named could get booked instantly anywhere they want, I think, to this point. Bronson Reed. If Bobby Fish and Mercedes Martinez want to go work a bunch of indies, no one's going to turn them away. So it's really just motivation levels. I mean, same thing. Alex Zane will step right back into all the places he was working. Anthony Henry, if he wants to keep going, same thing. So you agree on all those counts, correct?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tyler Rust is an interesting one because they had just put him in Diamond Mine, and that unit's off to a shaky start.
Diamond Mine.
Yeah, that's off to a shaky start.
Right now. It's just fucking Stokely Hathaway in there.
And Hideki Suzuki and Roddy, right? So they cut.
That's a great crew. It's just fucking,
Well, one of them got cut before she even debuted on TV.
Yes.
They were cutting people from that unit before they even got on TV. And now Rust is gone. Now he's a guy who obviously has an in with New Japan because that's where they got him from New Japan Strong. I would assume he'd be welcome back there. But he's another guy, veteran, older, and this was his shot. I don't blame him one bit for giving it a go. I could also see why they wouldn't see much use for him anymore at this point. I mean, he's just a guy.
Yeah, I think he's good, but he's a guy. He's a good roster guy. But again, like we're saying, if the new structure and the new idea is okay, can this guy main event a WrestleMania? Is this guy a superstar?
Then this man is.
You can't say with a straight face that's how Rust is. Like you can't respond to that with yes, I do believe that because no, I mean he's not. It's fine, but he's just not.
Which brings us to Kona Reeves, who
my guy.
I mean, I have never understood what took so long. Like, there's nothing there. There was never anything there.
You monster.
I mean,
he was really bad. He was terrible. Yeah.
There was nothing there. He couldn't go. He had a mediocre look. Okay, he was tall. I've got nothing. Like, he never was impressive in any way, shape, or form. In any of the 9,000 gimmicks they gave him. He was there for like 9 years and barely made it to TV.
Yeah, he debuted, by the way, April 2015 was his NXT debut.
I mean, this is the kind of guy where he could have been cut in any number of waves over the years, and it's kind of like they maybe just didn't notice his name on the sheet.
Right,
He's like the guy in Office Space with the red stapler. It's just you don't even, he's a fucking clerical error. There's nothing there with Kona. Apologies to Kona Reeves if you're listening, but I never saw anything. And Kona Reeves is the kind of guy where I wouldn't be stunned if he never wrestles again. I mean, you see him putting the nose to the grindstone on the indie scene. I don't.
Oh God, no! This is it. Yeah, we're never gonna see Kona Reeves again.
And why would you book him? If I'm an indie promoter,
yeah, I don't see much reason to.
Why would you call Kona Reeves? He can't use that name, and that's the only thing of value he brings to the table.
Is it? I mean, how many people even know who Kona Reeves is?
Exactly.
Like we do.
Very little right. If Kona Reeves was wrestling on an indie show under his real name or a different name, I'm going to be honest with you. I might not even know that it was Kona. I might not even realize it was Kona Reeves unless someone told. Like, he's a total non-entity. So I could totally see where they're coming from with that one.
He has. He did make a tweet, but it's like the least impactful. Like, how most guys are like ready to get back on the grind, like, ready to prove everyone wrong or whatever, you know what I mean? And then they give their booking email and that sort of stuff.
29 days away.
Yeah, right. Like, Bronson Reeves is lifting 700 pounds over his head. Like, I'm ready. Yeah. Like, Kona Reeves, Noah Kikio says, for all booking or inquiries, email me at noahkikino.inc@yahoo.com.
Oh, for God's sake.
And that's all it says. No one's emailing him.
Why would you book him? He's the kind of guy who will ask for like $500 a shot, too.
Sure. Oh, for sure. He's going to be like fucking Drama King Matt. That's like, hey, if you're booking me on an indie, like, make sure it's not, business select. And it's like, bro. Like,
who are you? Right. What, it's like,
Drama King Matt. Like, you're lucky they're not saying, hey, I got 6 other guys driving from Iowa. They're going to come pick you up on the way there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's, like, hey, you're in Chicago? Cool. We're going to meet you in fucking, Ohio, and then we'll drive you the rest of the way, like, with this crew of 8 guys coming together, like,
just be happy to
select.
Yeah. Just be happy the show you're on isn't a Spirit hub. You'd be flying Spirit, buddy. Believe me. I mean, where does he? I couldn't believe the ego on this guy. Like, he wants to be flown first class, buddy. You're not drawing flies. No one is buying a ticket to watch you.
Expensive first-class flights are. You are not making that money back for that promotion.
Who's buying a ticket to see Drama King Matt? Whatever the fuck. He's going by some.
I forget.
His real name.
I forget.
I mean, geez. He's complaining about not being upgraded to first class. Hit the bricks. Who do you think you are? Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Leon Ruff we talked about.
Yeah, he'll be able to work indies and if he wants to. He's fine. He's a great wrestler. It's just
he should hook back up with the fucking Skulk. They're out there.
Yeah.
That's he could go back with Alanis and the other guy and they've been doing good work. I catch them occasionally. But he'll just fit right in with that crew and he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be anywhere. And it's like he's only been off the indies for 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, somewhere around that range. So he's fine. He can just pick right back up.
He was just all wrong for this situation. I mean, he was locked into an Evolve contract pretty early on too. He probably doesn't have the indie resume that people think he does. And then obviously Evolve was the stepping stone to WWE as it often is. And, but yeah, no, he'll be fine in terms of indie bookings and whatnot. I don't know in terms of major league prospects. I mean, I would have been high. I was definitely higher on him. Once I saw him in NXT, I kind of, he doesn't have a great television look. I don't know. Hit the weights, eat some fucking cheesesteaks. I don't know. What advice would you give him?
Yeah, I would just say I don't know if there's any advice. Get taller, get bigger. Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be tough. So
I know nothing about the ref. I know nothing about the basketball player. Giant Zangier. Unfortunately, we like our freak show giants, but they cut 2 of them here. Look, they have a bunch of freak show giants, and they even have a few that are already Indian as well. So they probably just saw this guy as
they got Shanky. They don't need Shanky and Giant Zangier, I guess. So.
Fucking Shanky,
my guy,
Shanky. Yeah, I love that there's a guy on TV called Shanky. I love that. So when it comes to Giant Zangier, you leave the memories alone and you watch fucking what was that show called?
Oh yeah, that show ruled. I love that show. Superstar Spectacle.
Yes, that was a spectacle.
That was a great show. That show fucking rocked. Yeah,
we were excited about that.
I love that show. Finn Balor and Guru Raj going out there and having a fucking 4-star match. Like
we reviewed it here. We were so excited about.
Yeah, that was the match. I think it was. Let me look. I think it was Shanky, Zangier, and then they teamed with Rey Mysterio and Ricochet. I want to say
it was something like that
in that match. Yeah. Let me. Yes, it was. Dilshir, Shanky, Giant Zangier, Rey Mysterio, and Ricochet defeat Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, King Corbin, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, what a match. That's like straight out of War.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Exactly.
Right?
Fucking Finn Balor, Guru Raj. That was awesome. I remember that. It was great.
So, anyway, that's the, those are the, and Denzel DeJournay or whatever his name was, which.
Oh, he's gone too?
Yeah. He got cut. He got cut like a couple days later.
Yeah.
I guess he did the gimmick where he wouldn't answer his phone. But, look, that's the Vince thing. He doesn't like the amateur wrestlers. That's been a thing for years.
Right. And even though, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, listen, you can't. Yeah.
It's so
Why
dumb.
are you bothering? Yeah.
I know. It's so dumb.
Right. Very
so many of your top stars were great amateur wrestlers, but all right. That's fine.
So I don't know if that guy wants to keep going or not. I hope so because I remember watching him. He was one of the guys that Gabe took in with Evolve. And he looked like he had a lot of upside to me with the little that I've seen. So hopefully he stays with it. But that's the thing with these PC recruits, these street recruits. Once they get a taste of the PC,
it's hard. It's hard to go to the grind. Like we always say, going back to the grind, and some guys have tough trouble. Going back to the grind, but most of them can pick it back up pretty quickly. And I watched Kurt Stallion, like he just, or Stallion Rogers, what he is now. He's on AEW, this last weekend. He just came out there, did his normal thing. He's like, whatever, dude. I know everybody. I get it. I'll drive. I got it. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. That guy, it's no problem for him. But a Desmond Troy, a DeJournette, like he's never known that. He's never known that life, and it's a tough life, man. Even doing a few Evolve shots, like I'm sure those felt a little bit different than the, promoter calls you and you drive for 8 hours to go to a show thing. That's just a different animal. Right. Or you got to call promoters and say, hey, I'm available, or hey, here are my dates, or here, that sort of, it's just a different grind that a lot of guys
network. They don't have that built-in networking yet.
No. Who I'm driving with, who's the booker, who's the promoter. Like, honestly, I don't even know how you would get started on that. Think about that. Think about just going into the wild. Yeah. We know who runs companies, but do those guys know who runs it? I don't know, DMs. Yeah. DM on Twitter. Hey, I'm Desmond Troy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for a guy who's, been in the PC for 4 or 5 years. I mean, working out on high-class equipment and working out in the best rings and the best lighting and the best, all that sort of stuff. It's tough.
Yeah, and then you're at the Houston Premier Arena, and it's 150 degrees, and there's
You're
there's
pissing in a bucket. You're pissing in a bucket. And they're paying you in a hot dog and an envelope with 220s in it. It's
feral dogs running around outside. It's
right.
And I'm not making any of that up. It's a different fucking experience. So
you gotta love it. You gotta love wrestling to do the grind.
Yeah.
So
yep.
some people do, some people don't. So
Rich, New Japan Resurgence is this weekend. Did that catch up on? Did that sneak up on you?
It did. It really did. I really kind of felt like it was going to be. I for some reason I thought it was at the end of the month, but it's here. It's this weekend. It is August 14th. Obviously, also on Saturday, so going up against TripleMania as well.
Sold out.
Sold out. Yes, in Los Angeles. So I believe it is available on Fight. It is not available on New Japan World, as we said. So it is available on Fight TV. Voicesofwrestling.com/fight. By the way.
I'm so confused about this. I thought it was on New Japan World, but not in America or something.
The one? I don't remember. Let's see. I don't remember where this one actually is, Ari.
Yeah, very confusing.
I thought it wasn't on New Japan World. Am I wrong about that?
I don't know.
I don't want to give people the wrong information, but it's okay. Sorry, it is available with Japanese commentary on New Japan World. That's right. That's the difference there. But if you want an English commentary, it's only on Fight.
Right.
That's right. Sorry,
but
to confuse
it's
people.
not geo-blocked either, though, right? Like you can just turn on New Japan World.
Yeah. It's just going to be in Japanese. If you want English commentary, the only way to get English commentary is through Fight. But if you're cool with Japanese commentary, New Japan World, perfectly fine to watch.
And even if it was geo-blocked, all of our listeners have ExpressVPN.
Yes, voicesofwrestling.com/express, so they're good to go.
And they can live in Tokyo for the night and watch anyway.
Mm-hmm. Shibuya, they can live in Shibuya. Yeah.
Oh, without question.
Yeah.
So we're sold out. It's going to be a unique venue. And we've got Alex Coughlin versus Carl Fredericks. And those guys have wrestled each other a billion times. They're obviously very sound. I see a lot of people who are saying, oh, well, Carl Fredericks is still in openers. What's going on? No, he's really not. I mean, if you watch Strong, he had a title match in Strong.
He's a big deal in Strong.
Yeah, he just did this particular match. He happens to be wrestling what I presume is going to be the opener against Coughlin. But they're both, they're not young lions anymore. Clark Connors and Fredericks, and Fredericks does get pushed on Strong, but just a lot of people don't watch Strong. But I can see where they would think, just looking at the lineup, that he's still in the same place he was, but he's not. So we have Fred Rosser, who is a New Japan contracted wrestler, Rich. Rosser.
He's worked his ass off, man. That is not a guy that I thought, we talk about the grind. Like, I did not think that guy was going to build himself back up the way he has.
And maybe we'll be eating our words on Kona Reeves the same way one day. Who knows? Because I would have never predicted this.
No, God, no. But he's fucking working his ass off. He's in tremendous shape. He's doing great. We laughed about him even when he was like halfway through his New Japan run. Then like about a year or so ago, we've all had to turn the corner and be like, wait a minute, Red Roster's like really good.
And everywhere he is, he's good. Yeah, NWA, New Japan, and his work has been solid. So he teams with Rocky Romero and Wheeler Yuta against TJP, Clark Connors, and Ren Narita. So it'll be interesting to see Ren Narita in a different environment. This is a guy whose excursion has just been ripped to shit by COVID and everything. So Team Filthy, which if you watch Strong, obviously Tom Lawler's the champ. I was expecting a title defense here, but instead they're doing a 10-man tag. So Lawler, Kratos, Danny Limelight, Jarrell Nelson, and Royce Isaacs, and they will be facing Leo Rush, who's just finishing up the string of his bookings, allegedly. We'll see how that goes. Fred Yehai, Yuya Uemura, Brody King, and Chris Dickinson. So Dickinson and Lawler feuding on the show and all of that. So, this will be a fun 10-man tag. And it's always interesting to see guys like Ren Narita and Yuya Uemura to see when they kind of break out of being the guy who eats the pin, right? That's always interesting to watch and look for as well. Jon Moxley and to be announced versus the Good Brothers. Do you have any intel on who this
I have no intel on this. I'm kind of curious, and I guess I don't really. It's one of those things where if somebody said, "Hey, do you want to know who the guy is?" I'd probably just say no, because it's gotten so close to the event that I'm like, you know what? It'll be kind of fun to just watch and see who comes out and see who the person is. I don't know. I mean, is it just like a Juice Robinson? Is it someone as easy as that? Is it? I don't know. Should we wildly speculate, or is it just going to be like a New Japan contracted person that we all know?
Well,
I don't know.
I can tell you that it's not going to be Shooter Aminu.
No, not going to be the Shooter.
They ruled him out, and I think that was the plan. But for whatever reason, they ruled him out. It may have been for travel. I think that's the reason they gave. But I watched all of the Rev Pro on tape that is available on their streaming service and caught up this past week. And he looks like dog shit.
I saw that. I need to go out of my way and say I have not seen this, but I could not believe when you said, I got to be honest here, but he looks like absolute dog shit. I mean, like out of shape too, right? Like just not even.
He's out of shape. He's got a giant pot belly.
What? How did that happen?
Now, look, you can get back into shape. It's COVID, maybe quarantining. I think we all put on a few lbs, but he looks terrible. He exudes zero charisma. His work was not anything special. In fact, I think he's regressed. Now, keep in mind, he's barely wrestled. And these are his first shows back, and he's shaking the rust off. But I can tell you right now, if I'm New Japan and I saw that tape, I would not want to expose him to the masses in the current state that he's in. And I am not exaggerating any of this, because if you read my tweet, all of the Brits who went to the shows agreed with me. So no one's arguing with me on Twitter who have either watched these shows or have been to the shows. They're all like, yeah, he kind of looked like poop. So maybe it was supposed to be him. I think they're lucky if there's travel, because he would have been.
You think he would just have fucking bombed here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to overdo it, but he really looked terrible in the matches I saw. So they might have dodged a bullet there, or they might be like, look, man, get in shape and get your mojo back, because this is not acceptable. And we cannot put you on a show like this in your current state. I mean, he used to come across like a future star.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
He is not coming across like a future star. Like, the charisma's gone. His tights are like falling off his ass. It is just is downright embarrassing. But who knows who that'll be? It could be any number of people, and Moxley will face the Good Brothers. Jay White versus David Finlay for the Never title. That was the first match they announced. Lance Archer versus Tanahashi. That's the big drawing match. Tanahashi, who was in all the advertising videos, and then they finally gave him a match. So that'll be a huge match. And if Tanahashi wins, which he very well could, that could lead to matches at Dynamite, on All Out, or on Grand Slam. I mean, he's in the country. It's around that time. So who knows? I mean, we could have some Tanahashi action with AEW. He did appear on the video a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a good little diversion there for him. That'd be a lot of really fun. I'm selfishly hoping he stays around for All Out. That'd be really cool. Or at least
this is, once again, if you have CM Punk and a big Hiroshi Tanahashi match, like say against Jon Moxley.
Yeah, then I don't really give a shit who Kenny Omega's facing for the title.
This is what I mean about Christian match. It's smart.
Right. I don't care.
Like,
yeah.
Now the Christian Kenny Omega match is realistically third from the top. So it's fine. This is why I'm not like overreactive to that, because I feel like they're going to have bigger stuff on that show anyway. And then Tomohiro Ishii versus Moose, which
that fucking rules. I can't wait to watch that. Yeah.
I'm so glad he's in a singles match, Ishii, instead of like some 6-man tag or something. So
yeah, he's a guy that we've talked about this on the show before. He's a guy that excels in these American shows. Like, American fans love Ishii, as they should. He's just great, and he stands out so much. It's just an awesome environment. Like, he always steps up to the plate. It's just I really, really, really like him in singles matches in American wrestling shows. It's just, I don't know why. It works so much better for him, and he's so much more over in America. And that's not to say, like, yeah, obviously the guy's in Japan, he's still super, super over as well. But I mean, he's just an incredible guy in America, and the fans just love him so much. So
yeah.
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
You know what drives you, what inspires you. You know why you're here today, thinking about your education and your career. But do you know how to get where you're going? Indiana Wesleyan University is a place where your dreams and goals are known, where you're pushed to excel, and you're supported beyond graduation day. Explore our tuition guarantee, our faith-integrated coursework, and more than 100 online degree programs. See how it's possible at iwuishow.com.
Sure.
Yankees just took a lead here. I'm distracted.
Oh, shit.
They were White Sox were up 7-4. Liam Hendricks in.
Judge got him again?
Judge bounces. Well, no, Judge hit a dinger, and Stanton just hit a dinger. They're up 8-7 now, so. Damn.
Oh, yeah.
1919 all over again.
1919, Cincinnati Reds, world champs.
Yeah.
Well earned.
Right. Eddie Sakati just got a little wild on that first pitch of the series. A little nervous.
Yeah, no, I think the Reds just outplayed them.
just beat them, yeah.
Yeah, beat them fair and square.
It's the guy who hit one guy all year, just lost the first pitch of the
Listen,
whoops. Sorry.
Arnold Rothstein's an upstanding citizen, and I don't believe any of the allegations.
Anybody named Arnold Rothstein, yeah, you definitely
None of the allegations. I don't believe any of them.
Yeah.
Levied against that man. He's innocent. Yeah.
Man,
little 1919 World Series talk.
Yeah, you didn't think you were going to get that, did you? Here. But you got it, yeah. There you go. So, yeah, man. All right. Anyway, let's. That's Resurgence. So it looks pretty cool card. I'm excited. I don't know, like live, if I have to choose between, TripleMania and Resurgence, I'm probably going TripleMania. But I'm definitely going to watch Resurgence for sure. It looks really, really fun. So, if I had your TV set up, is that going to be ready by Saturday or what?
That's a good question.
Because that's a great way to get it started.
No, not by Saturday. It won't be all set up by then.
Unfortunately. West Coast baseball on one TV, TripleMania on the other, Resurgence on the other. You'd be good to go. Yeah, you'd be good to go.
Reds game, 2 wrestling events, and then
there's probably some dumb. Is that weird? The CFL's up again, right? I think I saw a CFL game.
I don't pay attention to that.
You're not watching the Argonauts here?
No. Come on.
You have a limit to the bad football you'll watch.
God, stupid Canadian football with their dumb 3 downs. No thanks.
It's very strange. Yeah, I can't.
Dumb. With their stupid big field that's too big.
It is very large, yeah. So, but you would watch like some shitty college football game, right?
Oh yeah, no, I am now a college football fan because of my new setup.
Oh, because you're good to go. Yeah, dude, you're good to go. You can watch. Yeah, you could while you're watching like Alabama versus Ohio State. You can also be watching like Texas State versus Utah State or whatever.
Well, on Saturdays, there's always a million games on at once. So I'm going to have my new routine is going to be waking up on Saturday morning. I'm going to tell you you want to know my new Saturday morning routine?
Yeah, I'm curious. Is there going to be now? Is there a conference that gets a certain TV, or is it all about the game that's going to happen?
Listen, this is going to be my Saturday morning routine. Okay, I wake up, earlier than usual, 9:45, 10, somewhere around there. So I get up nice and early, and then. See, you didn't sell it this time.
Just let it go. It's fine.
You don't sell it. So I'm going to
get
up
upset
nice and early.
that it probably is true that you wake up at that hour.
I'm going to get up nice and early. I'm going to start a nice pot of sauce early in the morning. Maybe a little brajol. Okay, Vinny Massaro knows what I'm talking about.
He's got you.
Yeah. Get a nice sauce going early in the morning so the house has that beautiful smell of Italian food all day. Then 11 a.m. the games come on. College football starts at noon. You get the Big Ten noon specials.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Iowa versus Northwestern on ESPN
right, yeah.
Right? So you get the 4 TVs up, and then all day long, right until Hawaii at midnight, I've got 4 TVs on.
Now we're talking
4 different games all day. Every now and then you walk downstairs and stir the sauce, right? You stir the sauce. And then sometime around the third quarter of the nationally televised SEC game on CBS, maybe a little LSU, Alabama or something, right? You make the pasta. You get the meatballs going, maybe a little sausage. And we have a nice Italian dinner every Saturday while the college football is going on. That sounds like a nice little Saturday.
Sounds like a great Saturday. Yeah, I'm not as big of a college football fan as I used to be, but there is something to be said for just a nice Saturday where you just sit down and stew and you just watch everything. And it's a lot easier now, obviously, with the ESPN Plus and all that sort of stuff to just watch. Because now my goal is I just watch the dumbest game ever. Or like what one buddy of mine will do is we'll go to cigar lounges a lot, in the winter and the fall or whatever, because there's like nothing else to do, so who cares? So we'll go. They have these little like side rooms or whatever. There's like nobody there at like Saturday at 2 p.m. or whatever, and we just find the dumbest game we can find. You know what I mean? Just the stupidest college football game to watch, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Flip around. There's nothing like flipping on a college football Saturday.
Yeah. Someone's
playing somewhere. Someone's blowing a big lead somewhere. Someone's about to miss a field goal. Like. And every game is like, there's something happening. It's either, some SEC team is just blowing the doors off this 1AA team or whatever. There's something fun to watch all the time. There's some weird gimmicky offense here. Rich Rod's coaching a team. UL Monroe, you know what I mean? There's something for everybody. So
maybe you got a little action.
I have, yeah. That did increase over the recent years that my bookie is coming to prominence in my life. So.
And that's going to be the day where I make the big Italian meal and, watch a little college
Make a big
football.
Italian bet, yeah.
Absolutely. Eat some meatballs and away you go. Because, Sundays are for the NFL. Sundays, get up early, go to Dunkin' Donuts, get a dozen. I still like to get the Sunday paper. I don't even read it.
Love a good Sunday paper. Just nice and thick.
Yeah, I like the comfort of it. Because you grew up with it. So you go get the stupid Sunday paper. Maybe you flip through the sports section, but it's all incredibly old news. Because
the Sunday sports section sucks. There's some flowery piece about some inspirational thing, and you don't really care. Yeah,
but there's nothing like the Sunday paper sprawled out on the kitchen table with a box of donuts. Maybe you make some omelets for you have a little breakfast, and then the NFL comes on, and now I got my 4 screens for the NFL as well. Put Red Zone on one.
Yeah, I don't. I definitely do not spend 1 second watching the NFL on Sunday, though. So
there's going to be some tremendous weekends here. The crisp fall air to go along with all of it. Man, I can't wait, Rich.
You're very excited.
Tremendous stuff.
Very excited. Yeah, Saturdays, that sounds incredible for Saturdays. You can take Sundays. I don't really care. But that. Bunch of fucking referees looking at the replay on every channel. So there you go. Yeah, it'll be all very exciting. Just close shots of a bunch of fat dudes looking at a fucking screen. That should be great, yeah. Commercials.
Man, this is aggressive.
Every time I watch the NFL now, it's just a commercial or a bunch of referees huddled around a screen looking at it, and then a bunch of replays saying, "Oh, did his foot actually? He made an incredible catch, but let's definitely make sure that his foot landed properly." Get out of here!
I hate to break this to you, but they do replay in college.
Yeah, they don't care as much though. They don't give a shit.
It's,
Old Miss versus fucking. They don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Chat room, Joe, can you watch the Premier League games? No, the answer is no.
You don't get that channel. I
don't. There's no shot.
So you're not going to be waking up for the beautiful game on Saturday mornings, so yeah.
Joe, Rams preseason opener Saturday. Duck Hodges at quarterback. Feel the excitement. I do not feel the excitement, and I do not watch preseason or exhibition sports, period.
Is that a real guy's name, Duck Hodges?
Yeah, he started for the Steelers a couple years ago when Roethlisberger went down.
In 2021, there's a man named Duck Hodges?
Well, his nickname is Duck.
Oh.
But
that's okay.
Yeah, he's I don't watch exhibition sports. I can't.
No, there's nothing worse than preseason football. Just the absolute dirt worst. The guy, hike, handoff, quarterback gone, running back gone. You know what I mean? It's just like, why did you watch this? And they do insane ratings. They do absolutely insane ratings. And sports radio blows up with discussions of who should be the 4th string wide receiver. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? That guy really impressed me. That white cornerback that made all the tackles really impressed me. It's like, he's going to get cut. Like, don't worry. He's going to get cut.
I just can't get in. I can't get into it. I don't. Like, I'm into my team, and I'll read the recap the next day and who impressed, who didn't. Who has the inside?
It's hard. It's a tough watch. Yeah,
position battle. I'm into the position, but I can't watch it. Watching it.
So I enjoy watching it in the form of Hard Knocks. Is a much better way to enjoy preseason football.
I don't watch spring training baseball either. It stinks. I can't watch it. Like every year when the first game comes around, I think I'm going to be into it. I'm like, baseball's back. Rich, I watch half an inning and I'm out. It's awful. I can't get into it. If it doesn't count, like this NBA Summer League, people get into this. I can't sit there and watch NBA Summer League.
I have a tough time with NBA Summer League too.
I can't do it. There might be one or two guys on each roster that are going to make the real roster. Why would I watch that? It's atrocious. It doesn't count. I big time the exhibition sports, Rich.
As
Can't
you
watch
should.
it if it doesn't
As
count.
you should. You're fine. There's enough actual sports going on somewhere in the world that you don't need exhibition sports. So
yeah,
especially not preseason NFL. Get out of here.
Someone says, "What about the golf?" I will watch the golf in my new room. Absolutely.
Good TV. Good for the 70-inch for sure.
Oh God, I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't really like golf at all, but I can definitely.
Beautiful on a
It's a
TV.
great TV sport. Yeah, it's an incredible TV sport. There's nothing like getting a new TV and just fucking popping on CBS and just great TV sport. Good sound, good color. It's just
Yeah. The dulcet tones. Of
yeah.
and it looks great on a nice fucking HD or 4K screen. The golf, it just looks so good. Like golf, I don't sit there and watch the golf the way I watch baseball or football, but it's nice to have on. I feel like on a Sunday, a non-football Sunday, I like hearing that the golf is on in the house. It's just, there's a home run. There's a tie game. That's
you spoiled it for me. I'm watching on my phone, so that's
I'm ahead of you.
You were
Tim Anderson just
Tim Anderson. Hey, good, great.
Won
awesome.
the game. There's a man on base.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice. Little walk-off. Oh, great. Well, now I got something to watch here.
He walked it off and he
Thanks
flipped the bat.
Yeah.
Did he hit it yet?
No. Let's see.
Damn.
There he
really
goes. Nice little bat drop. Yeah, hell yeah, baby. Let's go. Hit the bricks, Yankees. Fucking dopes. Oh, big fireworks show. 1919. Redeemed. Now let's go and beat those Reds in the fucking World Series now, you know?
I'd love to get that.
I don't know if that's the matchup right now, but
I'd be careful with the fireworks in the cornfield.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot. We've had a lot of rain lately in the area, so I think they'll be
all right. You're not too far from here, huh?
Yeah.
How far are you from this?
From Dyersville, Iowa. I've driven to Dubuque, Iowa, many times in my life. I don't know the last time I've driven to, and it's not far from Dyersville, but let me get the exact.
I can't believe I spoiled that walk-off for you.
It's okay. I would have been much more excited with it.
Yeah.
There was kind of some fun anticipation of knowing it was going to happen. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool. But yeah, thanks a lot. But 3 hours. I'm 3 hours from the Field of Dreams.
That's not bad.
Never been there though. I should go. I guess.
Field of Dreams.
I think it's a stupid movie. That's the other point. Is I don't like. I like the romanticism of this game being done in some random town, but that movie fucking stinks. So
cornball movie.
It's just a soapy Americana. Oh, Dad.
Want to play catch with my dad?
Have a catch, Joe. That annoys me to the end of this day. Are you a play catch guy?
Yeah, have a catch. What's with have a catch?
I don't know. Play catch, right?
Yeah, go play catch.
Play catch. Yeah, I've always played catch. I've never had a catch. Hey, Dad, want to have a catch? He'd probably tell me to fucking get lost.
It's like people who call any glove a mitt. I hate that when people are just
glove,
like, my baseball mitt. I'm like, oh, you play first base? What? Oh, then it's not a mitt. If you're a catcher or a first baseman, it's not a fucking mitt. It's a glove. Does that bother you as much as me?
The mitt thing doesn't bother me as much, but
it's not a mitt. It's always people who don't know anything about it. Like I hate that they call it a mitt. It's not a mitt. Oh, go get your mitt. I'm not a catcher. I'm a shortstop.
Is that the position?
I was a middle infielder,
yeah. I bounce around.
I don't use a mitt. I use a glove.
I've used a mitt before. I was first base for a long time. So.
That's a mitt.
Yeah, it was a mitt. It was good. Scoop. Nice scoops. Anyway.
Proper terminology.
All right,
jeez.
Field of Dreams does stink. Anyway, but let's wrap up the show here. We got a few more things to talk about here. Talk about some indies in a bit. Oh, I will tell real quickly. I'm not going to go over match by match. AEW this weekend. I went to Savages and Kings. It was a show that we previewed on last week's show. I said I did not love the card. It didn't look like a really inspiring card. Joe, a great show. A great show. A Rich Creek special. Everything was good, except with the lone exception of Allison Kay and Mel. Not great. Not great.
Surprised. Not surprised.
The longest 8 minutes of my life. Definitely one to skip.
Well, listen, Allison K. Mel, not exactly Akira Hokuto versus Manami Toyota.
No,
okay?
certainly not Dream Slammer.
So, yeah.
Not your Dream Slam main event there. So yeah, safely skip AK versus Mel, but everything else on the show was incredible. Shane Mercer was awesome. Jody Threat, Christy Janes, and Sky Blue had a really good three-way match. Brawled all over the crowd, really worked their asses off. Really good stuff there. Rush Jones was there. He was incredible.
Oh, my man Rush Jones.
Yeah, it's so what they're doing with Rush Jones, as I mentioned, which is this just far out thing that they're doing with this guy, is so what happens is he wrestles and he beats everybody. He looks like $1 million. His manager says that he's the best. The announcers go, "Wow, this Rush Jones guy is really awesome. He's beating everybody," and then he beats everybody, and now everybody just chants for him, and he's over as fuck.
Oh wow,
it's weird. I don't know how it's working, but it's somehow working. The beat everybody, look good, and everybody puts you over thing is it working again? So
there's there's an insider term for that. I believe it's called a push.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's what they call that.
Yeah.
It's rare to see those these days.
Right. It's just, we think this guy is good, so he's going to win all of his matches, and we're going to tell everybody that he's good, and then he's just good. So
yeah.
Chef and Jake Something was awesome. 12 minutes of just two bearded guys beating the fuck out of one another, which is basically AEW has just become a Haas promotion, and I'm definitely here for it. Yeah. Infamy versus Braden Lee and Jake Lander was good. It was just kind of high flying from those two guys, but some decent stuff there. Colt Cabana came back. He faced Larry D. Wasn't great, but it was Colt. He was over as fuck. And then the main event was Eddie Kingston, who was a god in this building, coming back. Matt Fitchett versus Fred Yehai and the returning Kurt Stallion Rogers. Awesome stuff here. Fitchett and Rogers just chopped the fuck out of each other. Yehai and Fitchett did great. And Kingston was throwing chops and throwing elbows like crazy. So really, really good stuff there. So if you get a chance, I recommend everybody. Replay is on Fight TV. I think it's also going to appear on AEW On Demand as well. Highly, highly recommend Savages and Kings from AEW on 8/7. August 7th. So anyway, some other indies that I watched as well. I watched the Scenic City Invitational, Joe, IWTV.
How much time do we have?
We have about 20 minutes. We have about 20 minutes left to go.
I will take you through this.
Yeah, go ahead.
We will time this out nicely because you saw the whole thing, correct?
I saw all of the Scenic City tournament matches. I did not watch the non-tournament stuff just because I was pressed for time. So
gotcha. I will take you through that. I watched the Scenic City Invitational live as I was cooking dinner and doing things around the house. So you paid way more attention than I did. I will jump in when appropriate, but I think we'll take Rich through this one. So we can't go match by match because there's 9,000 matches in this thing. So night one, first round, there are 8 first-round matches. What were the standouts to you? First, let me approach it this way. Anything in the notebook from night one?
Anything in the notebook from night one, I really, really liked. I don't know about notebook, but I really, really liked Daniel Garcia versus Graham Bell.
I saw that match, and it was excellent.
Yeah, Daniel Garcia.
Good finish. Really good finish.
Yeah, great finish. Daniel Garcia was just fucking awesome in this entire tournament. He's Daniel Garcia. He's just incredible. That is definitely one that I would say, I don't know if I'd put it in notebook, but maybe low, like 3 3/4 or right at 4. I would say so. That's definitely there. Alex Kane and one called Manders. If you like just big beefy dudes fucking beating the hell out of each other, that's pretty damn good. There, and the rest of the other stuff was really good. I wouldn't say notebook, but I would say kind of a Rich Craig special thing where everything was about 3 to 3.5 to 3 1/4. So nothing truly bad, and everything that at least had me pretty excited and
let me throw some questions at you. All right, let me throw some questions at you. How was Jeremy Wyatt Cabana?
Oh, I glossed over that one. Was really good. That was probably my second favorite next to Garcia and Graham Bell. I forgot about that one. Yeah, Cabana Mandan and Wyatt went out there. They wrestled like a very. It went like, I think it was the longest one of the first round, if I remember correct. Yeah, it was. It was like 17 minutes or whatever, and it worked that style too. Cabana Mandan trying to slow it down a little bit, kind of working a good style. But it was 2 professional wrestlers going out there and have a professional wrestling match. You know, the Brian Alvarez term.
Oh yeah.
But like it worked, it did, because it was like some of these other guys are just out there doing their stuff, and that's not to discredit any of these guys, but these guys just went out there and said, all right, we have X amount of minutes, let's just go out there and wrestle. And they just wrestled, you know what I mean? They just counter to a counter, built up to a moment, built up to a crescendo, heat, comeback, that sort of stuff. It's just, really, really good stuff from those guys. That I forgot about that one. That was my second favorite.
Wyatt is so good.
Yeah, he's awesome. And Cabana Mandan has really gotten great too.
Wyatt's wrestling Daniel Garcia for St. Louis Anarchy this weekend.
Holy shit, nice.
And also on that show is Davey Richards versus Thomas Shire.
Oh my god, I like Thomas Shire. He was on I missed some of the AEW Live, but he was on the match when I first got there. They taped So Shire will be on AEW shows as well pretty soon. So
he is so good and he is so different. He has size. He wrestles a unique style. I think he could have an excellent match with Davey Richards. I got to get my hands on that show after it happens. Okay, so that's night one. There were no real upsets. I'm looking at the results. I don't see anything I'd call an upset on night
Not really, yeah. AC Mack moving through, John Davis moving through fine, Daniel Garcia beating Graham Bell. Yeah, it was pretty chalk in the first round, I would say. I can't imagine. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody I would say here that I didn't think was going to move across to the first round. So
hey, Logan Creed stinks, right?
Oh my God, he's bad. Yeah, and not only was Logan Creed terrible here, he came back the next night as Cruel.
Yeah,
and faced Tank in a no holds barred match that was fucking dreadful as well. So
yeah, the MLW stuff is atrocious, and I saw the John Davis match, and I just felt bad.
He's embarrassing bad. Yeah, he's embarrassingly bad.
He's not good. Okay, so night two. The tournament stuff. So we have the 4 semifinal matches. We had Kane versus Davis, AC Mack versus Jeremy Wyatt, Daniel Makabe versus Eric Royal, and Garcia versus Jaden Newman. What was the standout to you there?
So the one that I really liked is AC Mack and Jeremy Wyatt. You can imagine both guys kind of sort of submission ground, mat-based guys. AC Mack not as much. Jeremy Wyatt a little bit more hard-hitting and stuff like that. AC Mack a little bit more of kind of, I don't know how to exactly describe his style. I wouldn't say fully mat-based, but a guy that can definitely...
How about shit talker? How's that?
Definitely a shit talker too, yeah. So that's definitely a competent mat worker that shit talks the hell out of you. Yeah, that one, definitely go out of your way to check that one out. And then Daniel Garcia or Jaden Newman I really liked as well. Jaden Newman kind of bouncing all over the place, doing all of his sort of stuff, and Daniel Garcia trying to take him down. But they're also told a story here where Garcia's starting to sell an injury as well. He's starting to sell his leg and his neck, starting to kind of break down here in this tournament with Jaden Newman, diving on him and doing some different things as well. So they told a really good story here where Garcia came in a little hurt. And they actually, I'll be honest, they told a really good story where all three of these guys came in hurt because AC Mack in this match as well, I should point out, Jeremy Wyatt destroying his leg as well. So AC Mack literally limping into the finals. Daniel Garcia kind of not necessarily limping, but sort of holding the neck, holding the back, like a little bit worse for his wear. And then Daniel Makabe coming in pretty fresh, but having some pretty grueling matches here in the semifinal. But yeah, Mack and Wyatt I really, really liked, and Garcia and Newman I liked as well.
All right, so final four came down to Mack, Alex Kane, Daniel Garcia, Daniel Makabe. No real big surprises there, I would say.
No, that's pretty much how I would have probably predicted it.
And maybe swap out Kane for someone, but otherwise pretty chalk there. And they do a 4-way for the final. Mack finally wins himself an SCI. Makabe, of course, his story was he had won one already. Garcia's whole deal was he's the hottest indie wrestler in the world. So how was this 4-way final?
It was really good. Yeah, and it's tough with doing a 4-way. It's always just kind of difficult, and I'm a person that obviously much prefers just singles matches, not really in love with multi-man matches, but I think they did a really good job of telling some cool stories here. The good thing about it too is once they kind of eliminated guys, I would say it got better as guys got eliminated, like as it probably should with any sort of match like this.
Yeah.
So when it was all 4 guys in there, they tried to be creative, they tried to do some spots. It definitely cleaned up a little bit when it was just AC Mack, Garcia, and Makabe, and AC Mack and Garcia just throwing bombs at one another. I mean, it's really, really cool stuff, just hitting the hell out of each other, just these spinning fists at one another, just really, really good stuff there. And AC Mack eliminates Garcia, and then it really got going here for the last, 7 or 8 minutes here when it was AC Mack versus Makabe. Makabe obviously won the last SCI. AC Mack lost to him in the finals in the last SCI, so just a really cool story here where Mack is just not going to go down. He's not going to die, and that's what the whole story was. Makabe, who's obviously very proficient in submissions, very proficient in mat game, is just working on AC Mack's knee and working on his knee and working on his leg, and Mack just will not give up, and then finally wins it, and the crowd just explodes. Just a really cool story here to see him see it all the way through and win it. Despite the knee injury, despite facing the guy that beat him last time, despite facing the submission master, they did a really, really good job here with that final story. So I would definitely recommend watching this 4-way and definitely get ready for the last few minutes of the match with Mack and Makabe, which I thought really stood out and was some tremendous stuff as well from those guys. And AC Mack cuts a great promo afterwards, challenges the winner of Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia. So some good stuff after that as well. But yeah, cool moment. Really cool tournament. I won't say that there's any there wasn't match of the year contenders on this tournament whatsoever, but a real solid, easy watch. Like that night 1 is a breeze to watch, and night 2 was especially I only watched the tournament matches from night 2. But a really breezy watch as well. I mean, nothing really cool story, good, simple stories, good, simple wrestling, like just not overthinking it, not overbooking it. Guy goes in there, beats the other guy, moves on in a tournament. It's pretty simple stuff, and they're making it work there. So,
all right. So
I should plug as well. We have a extensive review up at voiceswrestling.com as well. Andy Labar did a review for us there.
The preview was great too. I saw the preview.
Yeah, the preview was him, John, and Paul who went in there and previewed everything. So I would definitely recommend if you're like, hey, I have no idea what the Scenic City is. If you're an independent wrestling TV subscriber, you can watch it now. It's all available. Read the preview first. Know what's going on. Know who everybody is going in. Know everyone's motivations. Who the predictions are. Who's going to win. Then watch it. Read the review. You're good to go. We covered it better than anybody else. I would say for sure. Between Andy, Paul, and John, and Andy doing the review, nobody else covered the SCI as good as we did here on this website. So,
John and Paul, what are they, the fucking Beatles?
Andy, John, and Paul.
the fucking apostles, John and Paul. Fucking. Okay, so IWTV 100. This is where Rich steps out and I step in because I saw.
We really should have played. We should have played Headstrong. This is a bouncing, but that's all right. That's fine.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. But we got to do Noah, so it wouldn't have.
That's true. It wouldn't have worked. Yeah, it wasn't an official bounce, but go ahead.
So we will get to those Noah N1 blocks. So we'll run.
Yeah, I know you're waiting. I know everybody is waiting. We are going to get them. Do not worry.
Well, Rich just fucking hates Noah now. So as you can see,
it
gets shoved to the third hour without question.
Wait till we talk about these blocks. He'll tell you why I hate Noah. Yeah, Jesus.
Now I'm excited because I'm waiting for Rich's burials. IWTV 100, which was the next day, they kind of had a triple header. This is the same group of guys, same promoters, the whole deal. So I jumped in. I did not see the first three matches, but I jumped in at Mikowski-Ku and saw the rest of it. I will say that Mikowski-Ku was fucking awesome. This ruled. For a sub 10-minute match, it's exactly what you want. Matt Mikowski is everything I want in a pro wrestler right now with my current tastes. No nonsense. I want to beat you up. He's got this great leaping armbar finish he's been doing. He's been doing tremendous work, a bit under the radar. And Ku has now been in two of my favorite indie matches of the year because I absolutely loved that Kevin Ku, Daniel Garcia match from WrestleMania weekend. And this was a different kind of match. Obviously, that was more of a main event style, match at WrestleMania. This was a sub 10-minute fucking, I don't even know if you'd call it a sprint. It was just, was just great and well worth your time. The rest of the stuff here was basically what it looks like on paper. Okay. So we don't have time to go through everything, but I really don't have anything to add about the other three matches other than the other four matches, other than the main event. It's all what you would expect on paper from those other three matches that I'm going to skip over here. But I did like that the mixed tag with Statlander and Orange Cassidy versus Moriarty and Trish Adora. I like how it was strict intergender rules, man versus man.
Oh, I like it. They tagged out. Yeah, you had to tag out when the man got in. Yeah, that's okay. I like that.
And it got heat. They were booing, let them fight. And I was just like, this is tremendous. This is tremendous. Just the old school fucking man versus man, woman versus woman. But the match wasn't any good. So, it was fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing I'm going to tell you need to go see. But let's just skip to the main event here. This is the match everyone's talking about. They talked about it on Dynamite, the 1 hour time limit draw. Wheeler, Yuta, Daniel Garcia. People are raving about this. I'm seeing match of the year contender reviews for this. I got to tell you, I didn't think it was that great. I don't mean to be a buzzkill. Now, I don't think it was a bad match, and I think it was a pretty good match. I cannot call this a great match. And, I know that might upset some people or whatever, but this had a great opening 12 to 15 minutes where I was even tweeting out superlatives and talking about how great it was. Then it had a tremendous closing stretch, but the entire middle portion was just a whole lot of nothing. And I felt like they were struggling to fill the time. I just was not digging the middle portion of this. And, I know we were talking about it in real time in our Voices of Wrestling Slack chat because we probably had about a half a dozen people that were watching it, and most of them shared the same opinion. I mean, it felt like they ran out of ideas. There were points in the match where it was obvious to me they ran out of ideas and were trying to hit the reset button. And the work here was great throughout, but I feel like, and this leads me to a larger point I want to make. I think it's time to stop trying to flex our muscles on the indies and work these 1 hour matches.
Yeah, how many? We've done these a lot over the last year or two. Like, we got to maybe reel it in a bit.
It's a challenge even for the greatest wrestlers in the world. I mean, to be quite honest, I think it's time to reel it in and just go out there and have the best 25-minute match we can have. Is there really anything wrong with that? We've seen so many examples of this. I mean, even the Wheeler Yuta Lee Moriarty match at Beyond. Did you watch that one?
I have not. No, I haven't seen that one.
Again, I mean, it just, I don't want to be too hard on these guys, but it wasn't great. I mean, they just had trouble filling the time. You can go back to the 24-hour gimmick during the heart of the pandemic with Deppen versus Jordan Oliver. Now, and they went like, what was it? They might have went 2 hours. Didn't they do a gimmick where they went?
I forget. I think it was 2 hours. Yeah, because they did an hour and they said, let's do it again. I don't know if it was a full another hour. I forget if it was another 30 minutes or something like that, but it was a while.
I sat through that whole match and that one flat out stunk. It was horrible. You can't have a good match that goes that long. And Jordan Oliver is the last person I'd put in that position. I mean, I know it seems like I pick on the guy a lot, but I mean, come on, that was overly ambitious for anyone, let alone. Isn't there that famous story of I think it's Bryan Danielson in about 2004 or 5?
Yeah, with Austin Aries, right?
Yes, and they were like, we're going to do 2 hours, and then about 20 minutes in, they said, fuck that, we can't do that.
Right, this is going to suck, let's not do that, yeah.
And you're talking about Bryan Danielson and Austin Aries.
Yeah, in like 2006 or in whatever, when they're in the top of their game. Yeah, right.
Two of the greatest wrestlers of the generation. And you can't, I mean, look, and this is no disrespect to any, look, Jordan Oliver has no business going 60, let alone 120. Tony Deppen's a nice wrestler. You can't fill the time. I mean, we've seen these matches and it's just, can we just go out there and have a nice 25-minute main event match? I mean, can we just do that, please? And have the best match possible and stop trying to flex our muscles here? And like with Dory Funk Jr. and fucking Jack Briscoe, okay? Those matches weren't any good either.
Yeah, they fucking stunk too. Yeah, they just laid down most of the time anyway, so it doesn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
But I mean, come on, so it's like I'm not. Again, I don't think the match was bad. If I had to throw a star rating on it, it was a nice little 3.5 star match, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you made me sit through 60 minutes, and at times it was hard to watch because they really struggled to fill the time. And there was no connective tissue in this match. Okay? If they were telling a bell-to-bell story here, someone needs to explain it to me because it was lost on me. And I feel like I know what I'm watching, and I feel like I'm pretty good at this, and I didn't pick up on the story they were telling. So that's a problem if you're trying to engage me for 60 minutes. No problem with the work itself mechanically. Great closing stretch. Great opening 15. And then it became obvious they were going 60. That's another problem. And let me tell you something. If you just think I'm picking on look, I was in Edison, New Jersey for Samoa Joe and Bryan Danielson. And I knew within 5 minutes that they were going the full-time limit. And I hated that match. Hated it. Two of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, you're pretty much on record. I think the only super long match that you loved was Fred Yehi and Jeremy Wyatt, and you loved that match. I mean, I forget.
Fred Yehi, Jeremy Wyatt was a legitimate 5-star match.
Yeah, because I forget where you put it in your match of the year, but that might be
top
like
10 match of the year.
Yeah, somewhere in there. But
top 5, really. I think
it was. I think it might have been 5th or 4th or somewhere there. But
they told a story from bell to bell and never wasted my time. Not for a second of that match, and the work was great, as you would expect out of those two. Okada Omega. Well, they're two of the greatest wrestlers of all time. They can wrestle 70 minutes every night because Omega's a fucking genius. I know some people don't like to hear that, but he is. Again, not
Joe,
a waste
I
of
think he sucks, Joe. So what do you think about that? I'm just kidding. Obviously.
So it's like, I'm not completely opposed to a long match. That, there's long matches that of recent vintage that have worked for me and worked for me big time. And again, I didn't think this was a bad match. I don't want people to think I'm saying it's a bad match, but match of the year level, no, there was too much empty time here, and I think that they might tell you that themselves. I mean, by the way this match went, but look, I hear the building was like over 100 degrees, and look, I get all that, and that's admirable, but maybe it's time to pump the brakes on this fucking let's go 60 minutes stuff. And why don't we just go out there and have the best 20-minute match we can have? That's my little soapbox for today. So, I guess we can move on to Noah because you didn't see any of this.
Yeah, didn't see it, but we're a little bit over time, but we'll give Noah in there. We're not going to do an overrun for Noah, so that's fine. Go ahead.
All right, so the N1 blocks, we got 4 blocks this year, 4 men each, and we'll go through these blocks. Block A, Takashi Sugiura, Keito Kiyomiya, Manabu Soya, and Muto. Obviously, what jumps out at you? We're getting Muto Kiyomiya 3. Is he going to beat this kid again?
Probably, yeah. Or, well, right now Muto's got a COVID issue right now. It looks like he was in close contact with somebody, so he's out for the weekend show. So who knows? But yeah, probably.
Right. He'll be all right in a month.
Yeah, probably beat him again. Sure. And then people will tell us, no, Kiyomiya needs more time. It's just more time. Then he'll get him. Or he'll drop like this, he'll drop this match, and everybody will say, oh, there you go. Like, there's no way, like, either way, it's not going to matter. Who cares?
You want to wind up Craich, just talk about Noah. And you'll wind up Craich.
Look like shit, so that's fine.
I don't even think it matters if Kiyomiya beats him.
Yeah, we're past that point. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, so. B block, Kano. Do you remember Daike Inaba, Rich?
I do.
Inaba. Masaki Mochizuki, who has been, he just fits like a glove here in Noah. And Murakami had to pull out with some kind of hokey injury. So
good, because this block's so much better now. Whoever this next guy, I was literally going to say because I forgot that this was his spot, and my notes are unless it's Murakami, whoever replaces this, it's going to be the best block of all these blocks. I forget that this was his spot.
Once again, you want to wind Rich up? Just talk about Noah.
He stinks. Does he not stink?
I mean, he would have been different.
I don't want different. There's enough different. We'll talk about some of these other blocks. I got different in these other blocks. I just want a good block. I want a block of good wrestlers. And this block is...
You don't have to worry about Murakami. He's out of commission. Here's the problem, though, Rich. I'm looking at these blocks, and I think there's a good chance that Taniguchi could be the replacement because he ain't in this thing.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have Murakami if I'm being honest.
At least it's more funny than
interesting.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Taniguchi, who, okay, I mean... I don't know. Especially in this block. See, Murakami could have had interesting matches with Kano and Mochizuki because Kano will mix it up with him. And Mochizuki will mix it up with him. Rich is no selling this.
It's not selling me. I will admit.
All right. I'm excited to see
it. You tried. I'd rather just see a good wrestler in there and then see all these guys wrestle a good wrestler.
All right. For the record, I think Murakami may have been interesting just because of the layout of the block.
Sure. Yeah.
That's important for him because you can't put him in there with certain. Anyway, C block. This is probably, I'm going to guess, the block you like the most. Nakajima, Sakuraba, Kotaro Suzuki, and Masato Tanaka.
Yeah, that's good. Sakuraba's been pretty fun. He's been putting some effort in. Hopefully he continues that. Nakajima rules, Suzuki rules, and Masato Tanaka rules. So, yeah, that's an awesome block.
Yeah, that on paper is a really good block. Depending who they put in as the replacement for B block, I think it's between those two blocks for the best block. But I'm leaning C until I see who they put in there for the B block. And the D block, Masaki Kitamiya. Oh, you already don't like this one, huh? All right.
I mean, good God. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let's run them down. Masaki Kitamiya, Akitoshi Saito, Masakatsu motherfucking Funaki, and Kazuyuki Fujita. Yeah, that block fucking stinks.
Good God.
I can't even pretend.
Can you imagine the Saito Fujita match? Oh, man.
The age of this block is like 217.
Yeah, Masaki Kitamiya as the super worker of your block does not inspire much confidence for me as the glue that's going to keep this whole thing together. I don't know about that. So
Funaki hasn't looked bad in his small dose.
He's fine. He's fine. If Funaki was that TBA in that B block, that'd be awesome. Like, that'd be some really good stuff.
He would fit so well in that block.
Right. But, like, in this block, it's like, I don't know. I mean...
Akitoshi Saito's useless.
Right. I mean, come on.
Fujita, we're not Fujita guys. Yeah, I mean, that's a bad block. I can't see a lot of good. Look, there'll be there might be a match or two out of that block that surprises because they just stiff each other.
Yeah,
for 8
right.
minutes. You know what I mean? But yeah, night in, night out, that's not my block of choice. Definitely not. I'd have to go with C. A block is intriguing because the matchups are intriguing. And then B block could be real interesting if there's a cool name. But I have a feeling it's going to be Taniguchi. It's too hot. Like, he's there. he's a mainstay of the roster.
Right, everybody knows how to work him. He's
just slide him in. He can lose every match if you want him to do that, and it doesn't matter at all. So he seems like the obvious replacement. But the fact he wasn't in this at all, maybe he won't. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a reason he's not in it at all. So I don't know. But we keep an eye on that. And that starts on September 12th. And yes, I will force Rich to watch a lot of this stuff and talk about it, since I know he's
you want to get me all wound up.
You might just refuse.
I might just flat out refuse. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the problem is it might be hard to watch Noah. Wrapping up our discussion here, it might be hard to watch Noah moving forward. So that sucks.
I mean, you can pay for Noah though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pay for their shit.
You're not.
That's why I always wanted. That's what RealHero gave us. I'm willing to pay for All Japan. I'm willing to pay for New Japan. I'm willing to pay for some other stuff. There's some companies that I don't really want to pay for. So,
yeah,
that's what he was there for. We mentioned the outpouring of support that people are going to get as we kind of wrap up and go full circle.
Yes.
We said it's not only just us and podcasters; it's wrestlers. You have Ricky Starks, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Chris Hero, Jonah Rock. Like, they're all just saying, "Oh my God, I just talked to him last week." Because like these guys, and that's the thing that would happen too, is these guys would say, "Hey, I haven't watched Noah in a while. What should I watch?" And they'd get a whole list of matches from this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Davey Boy Smith Jr. would say, "Hey, I want to go back and watch. I'm going to Noah again for a tour. Show me these guys. I'm facing these guys on this. Like Jonah Rock gets released from WWE and probably goes, all right, fuck, I got time now. Let me go study. Let me go watch some stuff." He calls him. You know what I mean? That's the impact that he had, and not just us, but wrestlers as well. Probably a bigger impact on them than he has us. Those guys are learning. You know what I mean? We're just idiots watching it and talking about it. Those guys are learning and applying what they're watching, from him. So yeah, just to wrap it up full circle there with RealHero. But anyway, that is it for us. As we said, mybookie.ag, promo code VOICES to get a deposit up to $1,000, deposit match up to $1,000. And that, by the way, if you're going to watch TripleMania, again, voicesofwrestling.com/express. You can live in any of those towns in Mexico that we mentioned. You can live in any town in Mexico you want, and you'll be able to watch TripleMania there for sure. Definitely want to check out voicesofwrestling.com. It's very late night. voicesofwrestling.com/Discord as well, at Voices Wrestling on Twitter. That's it for us. So for Joe Lanza, I'm Rich Craich. We'll talk to you next time on the Voice of Wrestling Flagship Podcast.
Find everything okay?
Whenever you shop Meijer, you don't just shop for yourself. You shop for your entire community. You help keep your neighbors well with vaccine clinics and select free prescriptions. You help provide specialized care and comfort through healthcare programs across the Midwest. Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support a wide variety of programs that keep our communities healthy and thriving.
Thanks for shopping with us.
Learn more at Meijer.com.
Sports have a way of bringing us all together. And at Sleeper, we developed a fantasy platform designed to make leagues more fun and personal. Sleeper includes an integrated chat and every feature you could want for your NFL, NBA, and even esport leagues. Plus, it's completely free with no ads. See why millions have made Sleeper the fastest-growing fantasy platform. Download Sleeper on the App Store or Google Play today.